Hey folks, it's the Giant Bombcast for Tuesday, March 24th, 2020. I'm Brad Shoemaker. Joining me via the internet, Jeff Gersman.
Hello, I'm here. I'm from the internet, and
Yeah.
I'm here to say it's cold here.
Cold.
In a major way?
Yeah, it's cold here in a major way.
You're currently occupying the lower left quadrant of my screen because I forgot.
Yeah,
to
it's cold down here.
Go back to, yeah. How's the weather down there?
It's cold.
Yeah?
I said it's cold.
Okay. All right. Let me just do a little production magic here. Ben Pack,
Hi.
recently of a new and better microphone.
New better mic, new PC, new old PC.
You know what they say, new mic, new you.
That's right. I feel like a whole new person, and it's not just the crippling anxiety.
Yeah. Jason A. Stryker, sounds like
Hey.
a new building going up around you. Is that what's happening?
There's something going on next door. I hear jackhammers
Yeah.
and table saws, and hopefully it doesn't pick up on the mic too much.
Yes. I haven't heard of a thing so far, but
Good.
a little jackhammering, never heard
Lucky
a podcast.
you.
So, yeah. Jan Ochoa,
I'm
Holding-
also here.
holding it down.
It's really dark where I'm at. I can't figure out why my camera keeps adjusting to make it super dark for me,
You
even
look
though I have a
super
light
dramatic
shining at me.
right now. So,
Yeah, that's how I feel. That's how I feel all
yes.
the time.
Yeah, I get it. I can identify for sure. How is everyone? What's new?
Just hanging in there. Just
I haven't left the house in like 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like actually?
Like actually, or
I
something
made
like
it-
that. I don't
made
know,
it
the last day that we were at work. That was
Yeah.
the last day I was out.
Holy, wow, that's impressive.
Wow.
I did a full 7. I went Sunday to Sunday, but on Sunday morning, I saw that the Walgreens 20 minutes from here said they had isopropyl alcohol.
Hey.
So I set out on a quest, and then they didn't have any alcohol when I got there.
It's
Or a
always the
different
way.
kind of alcohol.
Yeah. Exposure for nothing. But, yeah. What else is happening in life?
I keep thinking about buying a bunch of like dumb streaming things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I bought this
Like-
light.
Oh, I thought it was a window.
No, I can just turn this off from the tray on my computer,
Whoa, wow.
Whoa.
Look at you.
and I can adjust the color temperature.
Talking like a ring light, a box light, like
It's a key light.
a key light.
Oh, is it the
One of those
Elgato
Elgato
one?
ones.
Yeah, it's that thing.
I
It's
bought
not
an
bad.
Elgato.
For the money, it's maybe a bit much, but
I bought a Stream Deck. That should be here Wednesday.
Oh, did you get the big one,
Hopefully.
like with the bunch of buttons, or the?
No, I don't need that many buttons.
Okay.
I was debating on if I just needed the little one, but no, I went with the medium-sized one just in case.
I've got a stand for my laptop coming, so I can reclaim a little bit of desk space under the laptop, and also use that as a better position for the soundboard when I get that for when I've got that up and running.
No, I've just got a dining tray for that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
smart.
it's cheaper.
The dining tray I've got for all the Mr. Mouse and keyboard and stuff over here off to the side. I've got Final Fight Anniversary Edition running over here,
Just in case
Nice.
you need it.
just out of frame. It's laughing too.
Anniversary edition? What is that?
It's a hack that makes it into a 3-player game.
Oh wow.
Oh.
Yeah,
What's the base version? What did they build that on?
The arcade version.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say they couldn't do that with the Super Nintendo version.
yeah.
There are only two
Couldn't even do 2. Yeah.
players to
Final
use.
Fight Guy.
They
Get out there and get that.
How did they choose Guy as the character to cut from that version? Like what the?
Because he's the worst character.
What?
What the
Yeah.
hell ever?
But he's got
He's
that.
the worst character.
He's got that. He's
No.
got
The
that
worst.
backhand punch. He punches like
Yeah.
this.
Cody is good. Hagar is good.
How
No,
is-
Cody's the
Guy
worst.
is
Cody's
whatever.
by far the worst.
No.
He went to jail though. So he's got.
Cody
some-
does that cool
Cody went
slide.
to jail. Cody has that midair knee drop thing.
Whatever.
Throws rocks.
Yeah.
Man.
Guy's garbage. Always has been.
Ah.
Feel the same about Cody.
Also, how did Mike Hager never make it over to the Street Fighter games? Speaking of
Because Zangief-
Final
because
Fight
Zangief was
questions,
Yeah.
He
Because
stole
there's-
his moves.
Yeah, Zangief is already there with most of the moves. But
Most
he
of the
made it into.
moves.
He's in like Final Fight Revenge, which is that Final Fight fighting game.
He's in Marvel 3.
Right. Yeah.
wouldn't you say that Mike Hager is a superset of Zangief?
He's got
Something
a
like. They're both. Mike Hager is a former Street Fighter. He's already retired from the game.
That's fair.
Right.
That's fair. All right. Well, let's get into the video games. Jan, I'll just let you cue up the music.
But games, we're gonna play them. This is what we're talking about now.
All right.
Games.
Now we can talk about video games.
That's the song we hear every week.
Every
love
week in
that
our
song.
headphones. That's what we got.
Nice to
might
have
have
something
a little bit of
normal in my
normalcy.
life, something
Yeah.
that's from the old world.
Yeah, right. Speaking of normal, like in this strange new reality, we happen to have entered the period where video games are coming out again.
Oh, there's
Yeah.
so many now.
Yeah, there's like there's fucking 3 major new releases since the last time we did this. I'm gonna move that we start with Animal Crossing.
Fantasy Star. Oh, okay, all right,
wouldn't say
fine.
four.
I
Wait,
guess
that's not out, is it?
It's. I mean, yeah, it's open beta. They're taking money. There's achievements.
Oh wait,
that thing's out.
Oh, that thing's
It's
free
not
to
a
play,
real
right? I
game.
forgot.
Yeah,
There is no final purchase to make when it
there
comes
is
out.
no
out,
final
right?
purchase to make.
Wait, maybe I should.
You could be playing it right now.
Maybe I should download that.
You could join
Oh.
the alliance called
Don't-
Giant. Okay, anyway,
Don't play Fantasy Star Online 2.
I don't want to
Uh,
play it.
No,
I
go ahead.
will-
You can
okay.
play it whatever you want.
Why would I not? I have like 700 gig free on my Xbox. Why not just download it?
yeah, we could talk about that later though.
How big is that thing? We have even
11
got
gigs. I don't know.
we
It's
even
not
have
much.
news pertaining to Phantasy Star Online too.
Yeah,
for that matter.
and I am angry about it, honestly.
What?
So when
Oh.
we get to that news, I've got what they call a take.
Okay.
Oh, shit.
I know.
Came to the
Stay
right place.
tuned for segment 2 when we get into that take.
We're all
Change
just
your lighting so it's hot.
Yeah. Yes. Right.
we're all just confined at home, sitting around formulating a bunch of takes.
Just
to drop
getting pissed all the time.
when we get our weekly outlet to dispense our takes.
Just doing push-ups all the time, tagging my friends about it.
Yep.
Hey, I got a take.
Yeah.
Animal Crossing's fun.
Okay, great. I want to hear about it.
Bullshit. What are you talking about?
I want to hear about something light and charming and
Honestly, this game couldn't have come at a better time.
yeah.
It's,
That could have come like a week or two earlier, but whatever.
I'm just having so much fun with it. It's my first Animal Crossing, so I really
Likewise.
didn't know what to expect. I knew like, okay, you pick fruit, you catch bugs, you make friends, you decorate. That's kind of just like
Yeah.
I've
Lots of
absorbed
waiting.
that
So-
much.
So what you're saying is they made an Animal Crossing game?
Totally.
Okay.
Well, so that's the thing is there's so much to do in it that I wasn't expecting. They do a really good thing in this game. I guess this is the first time they've done something like this with the Nook Miles. So when you get to the island, Tom Nook gives you a phone, and in the phone there's something called Nook Miles,
Is
and
it
these
called-
are kind
is it
of
called a Nook phone.
it's called a
Yes.
Nook
Oh
phone.
my god.
Yeah.
And they're basically like tutorial quests. That's like chop down 10 trees, pick 10 fruit, talk to your neighbors every day, get bugs, get fish. It's just kind of everything you can do, and then you're getting rewarded these miles that can be redeemed to pay off your initial move-in fee and also unlock items from the shop and stuff. And honestly, without that, I'd be really struggling.
Like you wouldn't know what to do, essentially.
I wouldn't know
For
the
yourself.
depth of things that you could do, because it feels like early on, there's only so many things you can do, and a lot of stuff is gated behind actual days, right? So it's like, okay, you got enough things for the museum, but you have to wait till tomorrow, or you can upgrade your house, but you have to wait till tomorrow. And so I feel like without those things, that would have just been me like hitting those markers and being like, oh, okay, I guess I'm done for the day. I guess I should just turn off the game and play tomorrow. But the Nook Mile stuff is keeping me going. I played for like 6 hours yesterday.
Is that a level?
Only?
Wow. Yeah.
Jeff, I'm guessing you're the only one here who's played every Animal Crossing.
Yeah, probably.
Is that like a level of direction that was not in the previous ones? Like that sounds like kind of a
Sort
to-do
of.
list, because I kind of
And-
remember the old ones being a little bit like, all right, now what?
So it's kind of strange because, like, yeah, they put all this stuff in, and as someone who's played all those other games, there's an element of just like, why do I have to wait? Okay, I give I give fish to Tom Nook. What the fuck is going on with this game? It's like before you have a museum, it's weird.
You know how Tom Nook do.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Tom Nook demands his tribute.
I'm like, where's Blathers? I gotta give him his stuff, but he doesn't show up until you give Tom Nook the first 5 things, and he's like, "Yo, I'm gonna call my homie Blathers. He's coming out."
He hates bugs, but he loves everything else.
Yeah,
He'll be
hates
here any
bugs.
second now.
Loves fossils, and so there's a lot of stuff like that feels a little more gated, I guess. But also, this game is crafting, and none of the previous games have had that. And that is the weirdest change for me. So that's why there's more of a ramp up now, is because there's an element of just like, oh, I need to go get wood so that I can build a net, and then I need to find the recipe so that I can get a shovel and all this stuff, and you have to craft all your tools. You can buy them; they are in the shop. You can buy them for bells, but the idea is like, okay, you're going to be going to workbenches and crafting things out of wood. So there's a lot of rules that have changed around, like, well, where do I go to get these materials? And so it's like, okay, I get an axe, and then the weak axe won't cut a tree down, so you can just hit a tree 3 times to get 3 woods out of it, and then go on your merry way. But if you get the regular axe, the upgraded axe, on the 3rd chop, it will chop that tree down. And so I'm walking around chopping every tree twice now, only getting 2 woods out of it, instead of 3, because I don't want to chop down all my trees. And maybe there's another way around that, but it hasn't been clear.
That's what I'm doing.
So
So
I keep using a stone axe instead.
Yeah, I guess like the idea would be to just like craft a lesser axe, but those break more often. And so that's actually like the idea that your tools break, I think fucking sucks. And
so they didn't break in the previous games, correct?
No. And having like,
hey, a lot has changed since those games came out.
Like, I got this watering can, and I'm watering these flowers, and then it blew up in my hands because it couldn't survive, and now I think
some of those are pretty whack.
Yeah,
sure.
Game developers came to some revelations since the last time an Animal Crossing came out. About resource loops and making you iterate things.
And so, like, you see that influence on this game now, and it makes sense, like, that this game would have that type of crafting in it. I think it fits right in. But having played all the other games, it's a major change that I'm not 100% on board with. But also, like, I also don't think tools should live in your inventory. That should be separate stuff that doesn't take up your slots and all this other stuff. Though you can get more inventory slots for Nook Miles and all that. So it's kind of the same game. They've made some fascinating changes to systems like that. They've done stuff around the edges. To kind of freshen things up, or to make it fit like their island motif a little bit better.
Sure.
But it's that game. They made that game, and it's good.
Yeah, it's great. I think a thing that I would have liked with the tools, since they are they'll break, is if there was like some type of durability meter or some like indication, like, hey, it's about to break.
Like it just happens. That's very Nintendo.
You can kind of like mentally count of like, I've used the shovel this many times to break or to get nuggets or rocks out of a bigger rock, so it should break maybe like the 3rd time. But I mean, once you're like juggling all the different stuff or like the different errands you're running, it kind of just lose track of it. Especially if you go to use a Nook Miles ticket to go to another island, and then you're kind of boned that all your tools break.
Well, it is pretty generous of them, though. They have a workbench on every other island, and you can use your Nook Miles to buy tools from the dodos, who, by the way,
I love them.
Those fucking dodos, man. Best new characters of the generation? Maybe.
Are they new? Are they new?
Yeah, they're new, yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Unless they were in the iOS game or something, but I think they're just new. Yeah, it's all the resource management stuff is interesting. Like, even to upgrade from the first shop to the second shop, it's like, okay, you need to bring me 30 iron nuggets and 30 of this type of wood and 30 of this type of wood, and I'm down to the nuggets. And for the longest time, I wasn't sure how to get nuggets, because I didn't have the shovel. You don't get the shovel immediately, or at least I didn't have the recipe for it, so all I had was an axe. And when you eat fruit now, you get powered up. So I was eating fruit and then hitting those rocks with the axe, which was blowing up the rocks, and I would get like one iron nugget maybe. And so now my town doesn't have any rocks in it anymore because I blew them all up. And so they will eventually respawn. Like every day you get another rock here and there, I think. But it's made it hard for me to now go around and just like get all those iron nuggets. I had to go to another random island and hook up them nugs. But
you know about the nug hack?
Is it just the like dig the hole that you can?
Oh my god!
This is in every so every game has had the rock, like the money rock, and one rock a day will spit out money. And
I will say, if you're not familiar with the hack, go check out the quick look, because Abby shows it off, and it's literally just accelerates your early game so far if you know how to do that and not just knock 2 nuggets out.
Yeah, if you ain't knocking a minimum of 7 nuggets out per rock, get the fuck out of here. That's what I'm saying.
Sling that rock.
Yeah, always.
Have I missed the boat on this game? Like, it seems like everybody's playing it
No.
non-effing stop, and like I want to play it, but
it would take you like one day of setup to get to the day when everything is open.
Okay.
You know, and you could go to other islands that have more advanced shops and buy stuff.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Or people could twink you up with ladders and shit.
Yep,
Whoa.
I had somebody come by my island and drop off a vaulting pole and a ladder just because I hadn't made it to the other parts of my island yet, and that made a huge difference.
So that's also new. Like the ladder and vaulting pole are new, and that stuff's crazy too. Like the idea that you start on an island and don't just have a bridge already is really wild. Yeah, and I was not expecting it to go in that direction.
Can
where
you
it's
just,
like,
can you just be open to visitors? Like, can you just set your island
Yes.
like, hey, anybody, just parties here, come on over.
well, it's people on your friends list, which they actually use the Switch's friend list and
Wow.
not a separate
Yeah.
friend
Holy
code, which is
shit.
like a bold new world for Nintendo. It's very exciting. And then also you get a short code that if you are trying to let strangers in, you can just give them your short code,
okay.
and they can get in that way.
And there's a really smart thing where you can have just normal friends can't really interact with your island, but if you become best friends with somebody, they can,
Dig
Ruin
into
it.
trees.
yeah.
Yeah.
And again, that's the best friends at the Switch level, like the little star.
No, this
No,
is a
that's-
separate. Like
that's
once
in
somebody
game.
comes to your
Oh,
island
okay.
once, you can mark them. As a
I
best
see.
friend.
They could use the regular friends list, but they couldn't use the best friends. They had to do their own thing. Okay. I
You're
get it.
asking
Yeah.
so much for Nintendo right now
Yeah, I
to use
get it.
2 things built into the Switch Online.
I get it.
I
You're
just
still
really
using a phone in the game now that I think about it.
That's true.
Yeah.
And the animation when you take out your phone and look at it is very cute.
But also, like it's still Nintendo's dumb online shit on some level, where the iOS app is how you do voice chat, which I guess is an improvement from when they made you buy the Wii Speak on the Wii.
Right.
Right.
That's fair.
But I don't know.
Yeah. All right.
You
So
can use the app to type faster messages in the game versus hitting the
I might
shoulder
actually
button.
use that because
Yeah. I didn't know that. I'm gonna
typing
get
on
that
the
app.
Switch screen
It's
seems
bad.
bad.
wait,
A
do
lot
those,
of typos.
those messages go through the game if you type them in the app? Like they
Yeah,
show
you
up
just
in
have
the
to
game?
connect your
wow.
connect your Nook phone to your Switch.
to your actual phone. I see.
Yeah.
Got it. All right, so my big question, the thing that is actually keeping me from playing this game is that I want to play it, but my girlfriend loves Animal Crossing, and I'm wondering how this like one island per Switch thing is actually working out for people.
That's
I
our
feel
kind of situation.
like I feel bad about getting in there and like starting an island and doing all the fun stuff, and then like kind of depriving her of that experience because I think she likes those games more than I do.
You're gonna need to just buy another Switch.
That's what I was afraid of. Like we literally have been.
that's what we did.
We were
That's-
literally
yeah.
discussing that option yesterday, but like I don't know that I can't justify the expense A for this game and B with the way things are right now. Like
Yeah.
Our situation is pretty close to that. Like my partner's very into has been very into Pocket Camp and stuff, and likes Animal Crossing a lot more than I do. So it's actually really nice. We'll just like pass the controller back and forth on the couch. One of us will be on our phone or whatever. One of us will be doing island stuff, and then
Are
when
you
we
both
get
playing
bored,
the
we'll
same
just switch.
character, or are you both living in the same town? Because you can do.
And
There-
then
I-
we're sharing one character.
Oh,
Just
okay,
like
okay,
we're
that's
literally
different.
passing the controller back and
Yeah,
forth.
I'm talking
like,
about her
yeah.
like signing in on her account and making her own character, but then it sounds like she just would miss out on a lot of stuff if I was the primary player.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think Alyx is doing that, and he is not the primary player, and he said that it's still been fine.
I'm getting a double thumbs down and a frowny face from the hallway about this discussion right now. So
Yeah. You're just gonna have to get another Switch.
yeah,
Yeah. I created a new character.
Switch Lite is what? It's like $200.
it's
Just
$200
get a Switch
bucks.
Lite.
I know, but like for
I
one
created a new
game, just
character
because of this
with,
stupid
with,
design
with
limitation.
Griffin, and yeah, he is kind of deprived of like naming the island, flying out there and everything, and it's very bare bones. It just kind of throws you on the island and says, "Hey, build a tent right here." So he missed out on a lot of that stuff, but then again, he can't read, so no big loss. I guess.
Sure.
I think just real quick, I think the thing that this game does really well, and it's like a Minecraft, and it's like some other games have certainly done this, but the sense of just creating your own solutions for things and discovering what to do. Like there's a lot of people who take this game very seriously and will time skip and will min-max and just like look at guides and stuff like that. And that's totally there if you want to do it, but
Heathens.
just like, yeah, I don't respect it. I respect your right to do it, but I will never ever time skip. Like last night, you can, like Jan said, you can redeem Nook Miles to go to a random island. I had the luck of a draw and ended up on Tarantula Island.
Me too.
It's
a nightmare.
How did it go for you?
I filled up my whole inventory with tarantulas. It was great.
Were you just running around catching them, dying catching them?
Yeah. But I went on a hot streak of like catching 10 in a row. I timed it out of like when they first jump at you, you gotta like prime your net, and as soon as they start jumping, just swing. You got them. It's fucked up when they gang up on you though.
And so that's the thing, is like I landed on this island, it's full of tarantulas. Tarantulas will basically knock you out and send you back, and you have to run back to where you were over and over again. But I just was like, I realized they couldn't hop. I was digging and I realized they couldn't hop over holes. So I made this like little maze and then would just kite the tarantulas, have them chase me around the maze, and then hop over the maze, grab them with my net. It was so stupid, but I felt so smart at the time. And like, once that clicked for me, I really started to understand this game. It's like, it's not about any one thing. It's about just like making your own goals and achieving them. And I think that a game like that, a game that's so open-ended, is really, really easy to recommend right now because it's so low stress. It's just you go and you can do what you want to do, see what you want to see, interact with it the way you want to, invite all your friends over or play by yourself. Like, it's really rewarding to just sit down and plunk away at it.
There's no social distancing on Nook Island.
Yeah. So I opened my gate so that Matt Pasquale could come and get some peaches. And while it was open, like 4 other people came through, and then Dan joined and left notes on my board and stole a bunch of shit and took a picture of himself sleeping in my bed and just some really nasty shit. And meanwhile, I had to like set the Switch down and go do like baby stuff. And so I just come back and I see people running around. I'm like, fuck. They're definitely ruining everything.
Were those excuse me? Were those strangers that joined? Like, was
no strangers, just people on my friends list.
Okay.
Yeah. But you mentioning, I didn't actually realize that people who were not best friends could not truly interact with the island. So maybe that saved me from
them looting
true damage. Though I did send best friend requests to everyone. I'm gonna go cancel that best friend request to Dan because I don't think he's accepted it yet.
Saved you from any damage.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think if you were doing local play, there's no best friends or whatever. So if you were playing with someone locally, they can just go ahead and start uprooting everything and terraforming your island, because that's what my partner did as soon as I opened up my gates. Mm-hmm. She just started digging holes everywhere and stealing my fruit.
Yeah, there you go. That's how it works. Yeah,
I respect it.
I think they figure, if you're playing locally, you're within arm's reach to solve that problem.
Slap the Switch out of their hand.
There are social remedies for that kind of problem.
Yeah,
for sure. Cool. That game sounds all right. I should play that.
It's a good time.
Yeah,
it's so relaxing.
Yeah. Speaking of good times,
the polar opposite.
There's a new Half-Life game out in virtual reality.
Yeah.
It's not where
yes.
No,
it's a VR Half-Life game.
Yeah. That came out yesterday. Half-Life Alyx has been out for 25 hours and change. Something like that. Jeff, did you just actually start playing it for real yesterday?
This is so. Yes, yes. I played through the first chapter of it. So that game didn't work. I've had access to that game for a couple weeks now. It didn't start actually functioning until late Friday night.
Okay.
So I played through the first chapter of it then, and then just didn't have time to touch it over the weekend. So then when yesterday rolled around, like, okay, I'm gonna stream some of this out and see how it goes. I think this game is going to be forever linked to the pandemic, like the crisis for me, because of how this all went. Initially, we got invited to go to Seattle, and see the game.
This was the whole thing, I think.
This was weeks ago, but it feels like a fucking lifetime ago now. And so and then there just became this window there where it was like, wait a minute, I don't know if I want to go to Seattle. That doesn't seem like a smart idea right now with the way this stuff is going. And then they canceled, just like every other event in gaming got canceled. And then they said, okay, we're gonna send you out a Valve Index, and we'll get you a copy of the game early, and you can play it that way. So we got a Valve Index into the office about 3 days after the office closed. So there's a Valve Index sitting in our mailroom. And so I ended up playing the game on the Oculus Quest, which is the headset I have here, and I don't think that's the way that this game was meant to be played. Like the Half-Life Alyx technically supports everything that's out there, because why wouldn't you? There aren't like a zillion headsets out there, so you got to do the work to support everything. But I'm pretty limited to this space. I kind of have to get as far back as I can to not punch this stuff, but I was still hitting the desk and all this other stuff. I don't have a lot of VR room right now. And so I was pretty limited to the stationary seated position when playing it. And yeah, it didn't seem like a great time. It seems I've been talking to people that have played more of it, and it sounds like it eventually becomes more of a horror themed game for a while, almost a lot of that type of jump scare type stuff. And, the combat gets more complicated later on. And so I'm technically probably like still in a tutorial area, because it has the longest tutorial of sorts imaginable.
I mean, that's kind of necessary from the little bit I've played. I don't think I got nearly as far as you did, but just the basics of movement are not excuse me, not things that have been solved yet, right? Like I still haven't get a feel for like, all right, how does their teleporting work? Like, what is their solution for jumping or mantling over obstacles?
Well,
like,
their teleporting works like pretty standard. I mean, like and it's similar to the type of teleporting that they use in the Steam VR home space. So like I feel like I'm used to almost every aspect that they're using in this game, with the exception of like the jumping and mantling solutions that they've come up with.
Teleporting was not the best example, because that is like a somewhat standardized or solved problem at this point. But yeah, like stuff like so I've been playing it. I only played it for a little bit this morning, because I had spent most of my time this morning troubleshooting my stupid headset. But
there you go.
VR is pretty.
VR
is a good time.
I live streamed the 40 minutes or so of me trying to get it set up to stream and get audio all set up. That was an extra level of dumb.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Yesterday.
I'm on a Windows mixed reality headset, and they managed to break something about that thing every time they push out a major Windows update, so that's fun.
Awesome.
But sorry, the kind of stuff I'm talking about is like, so I started out playing it in a seated position, and then I went to standing halfway through, because there's like kind of a lot of like, at least early on, like handles that are near the ground that you need to like grab and pull up, or there's like a low barrier, and I was trying to figure out, like, do they want me to physically crouch and move under this thing, or just like teleport under this space? And like, there's the stuff like that, just like basic movement stuff to figure out that's not immediately evident until you kind of get a feel for everything.
Right, and in a lot of cases like that, if you just walk up to a thing and push forward on the move stick, it will eventually teleport you inside automatically for some of that stuff. And also it's in the accessibility, I think, where you can turn on. So for me, it's like if I click the right stick on the touch controller, it will make me stand up.
Okay.
Because I'm seated, and so that was like, it was kind of another thing that this is not me hanging the game. This is just like, obviously, like, games come together late, but until Friday, I could not make it stand up. So I was playing the entire game for it, thinking I was up here, up out of frame standing, but like not even looking over the rail in the initial sequence. Like I was so short that the game was basically unplayable.
Is that the thing they
and
call
the standing controls wouldn't work?
Is that the thing that they call like height adjustment in the options or something like that?
Yes.
Or is that a different option? Okay.
There's like crouching, standing, hybrid. Like it has multiple options for it, but like none of them worked none of them worked for me until Friday night. So like every time I tried to play that game, it was just like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Anyway, past all that, and it's working as intended. And I guess there's a spot in that game a little bit past where you are, where you're working your way. It's right before the first combat in the game. There's a door that is barred with like a lead pipe, and you have to grab the lead pipe and pull it out. And then suddenly you're holding a lead pipe, and you're like, all right, let's go.
Sure.
And then you move forward to the next room, and there's a bad guy there, in the next room or two, and you're like, all right, I'm going to club. I mean, I have a pistol, but I'm going to club this motherfucker. And you can't.
It doesn't count as a weapon?
No. There are physics interactions that supposedly do some kind of damage. You can take damage on a physics interaction, but like it didn't stagger him. I wasn't clubbing him.
Like you
later
didn't
on,
react to it?
No. And so you get to a thing. Also, there's a couple of spots where there are boards across a walkway, and you're like, all right, this is Half-Life. This is where I would have a crowbar to smash these fucking boards. And meanwhile, I've got this lead pipe. All right, well, that's pretty much like a crowbar. Let's go. No, you can't. So it sounds like they made the decision to not include melee in the game because they didn't want people to flail. And I guess I can respect that as a game design decision, but in an immersion and this game behaving the way you expect objects in a world to behave, it fucking completely broke it.
But yeah,
I was like why would that not work?
Like
I mean, especially for a fucking Half-Life game.
Yeah, like you start that game standing in front of a radio that you can both pull the antenna up and down on, and then actually tune to different stations.
Yeah,
like there's a lot of interaction in there.
There's a lot of they're going for a lot of interaction and nailing it in a lot of cases of just like okay, the world's going to behave as you expect. So early on, you're like, oh, okay, this is definitely going to work.
Yeah.
But what they want you to do with those boards is grab them with your hands and pull them off.
Right.
Not hit them with something.
Yeah.
But also, they gave you a very melee weapon-like object, like right before that.
Again, we've all played Final Fight. We know what a lead pipe is for.
Exactly. I know what a lead pipe is for. I played Condemned. I know how to fuck shit up. And
can you not throw things?
You can.
Okay.
And so, in my experience, like hitting people with things didn't seem to do, or hitting enemies with things didn't seem to do a noticeable amount of damage, but them throwing things at me did. And so there was a case where one of the head crab zombie guys like kicked a barrel at me, and it hit me, and like it was like, oh shit, I took like noticeable damage. Like my meter is definitely noticeably lower than it was a second ago. But I was like, okay, well, fuck this. Grab the barrel with both hands, pick it up, throw it. It doesn't feel like it has any real weight to it. The physics on it on the throw don't feel right. And then it hits him, and he just like
stumbles
a little bit and keeps going. Like barely even stumbles and just kind of keeps going. It's like, well,
he's a zombie.
And then physics on top of that, like, I threw I kept trying it with the barrel stuff. This is in the video we recorded. It's on the site. So I threw a barrel at a seated zombie, which made him stand up. And then the barrel started doing that Half-Life physicsy thing of jittering and jiggling and all this other stuff. And because it was moving so fast, when I walked up close to it, it hit me again.
Oh, man.
And I took more damage from a jittery barrel. And it was just like, I guess I just, this is Valve. This is a Half-Life game. They haven't made one of those in a long time. Valve is a company that, like, the lab is really good. They've done really cool stuff with VR in the past. And so you figure, like, if this is big enough for them to return to Half-Life, they must have figured some shit out. And my early experiences with the game is like, no, this is just another VR game. Like, you might care about the universe more. You might care about the characters more or something. But, like, it kind of just feels like another first-person VR game with the same type of shooting and all. They've come up with their own interactions for reloading the gun and pulling the slide, and you're like, yep, I can do that. That's a lot of games doing similar stuff like this, and it didn't stand out to me really in any way, unless you're like, well, it's a Half-Life game and that's enough.
Yeah, it does definitely to me have that feel of like a VR like theme park ride kind of. You know what I mean? Like, it's very linear. Like, you feel like it's a very like constructed Pirates of the Caribbean kind of space with stuff happening on either side of you. I think like it looks fantastic. Like, it's nice to just play a VR game with that kind of fidelity. And I think the atmosphere is pretty good. Although seeing a bunch of riot police in breathing masks walking around,
talking about quarantines, not the right time for it.
Was like maybe a little bit much.
Yeah.
The one interaction I was pretty impressed with early on that I got a pretty good feel for by the end of like 20-30 minutes was the sort of gravity glove to fling an object to you, grab it out of the air, stick it in your backpack. Like that sequence of moves I was just sort of flicking off.
Or even just catching a thing, like, I'm flicking up a garbage can lid and then letting a head crab kind of jump into it and blocking them from getting you with it or whatever. Like those are cool ideas.
Yeah, so like, especially the feel of getting that down without having to think about it anymore, like just kind of doing it by instinct was pretty good. The other thing I will give props to is their sort of corpse manipulation. Did you grab any of those dead zombies early on and like play with them?
A little bit. I had a small dead rat friend with me for most of the time, and
you had an experience with a rat.
And not to spoil the video if people want to go watch it later, but some of my experience may be colored by the fact that rat eventually clipped through the world and disappeared.
That's just
sorry.
a lesson. That's just a lesson about life.
I almost quit right there.
Yeah.
I was almost like, well, all right.
Hey, that's emergent narrative. You wrote your own story.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
like Journey.
But like the corpse stuff, and like there's also some like what they consider heavy objects that you have to use 2 hands to pick up.
Right.
But like with the dead bodies, you can sort of like grab the head with one hand and like an arm with the other, and like it all works nice and physically. And that stuff's fun to play with. So that stuff seems cool.
It's always fun to play with a dead body.
Yeah.
I saw a clip of somebody walking down a hall shooting. They were running out of ammo. A head crab jumped at them. They grabbed the head crab out of midair, finished their reload, threw it, and shot it.
Wow.
And that alone made me want to like go play it. I can't.
That sounds awesome.
VR, but I'm still interested to try this. I still haven't played a VR game that has made me feel like, oh, this is a video game I want to play, and not just, oh, this is a neat trick. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think for me, it's like the playing it here on a Quest seated and stuff just feels like this is, like I said, it's not the way that you're supposed to play this game. Like it feels like, especially as combat's going to get more involved later on, you're going to want to be able to move. You're going to want to be able to walk around a space, and it sucks to know that like that experience is out there, just not here in this home, and it's sitting in the office right now. Like, fuck, man. That's how I want to try this game.
I'm in a similar boat. Like, I feel like standing, even if you don't have room to really walk, is like a decent compromise, because at least you can kind of duck and crouch and that sort of thing.
Standing, I've found that standing in this space ends up resulting in me punching way more stuff.
Sure, yeah.
So I learned my lesson the hard way on that a few times and had to remount this mic to the desk and other stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna sit. Unfortunately,
That's fair.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess my concern is that even in a full room scale environment, like I guess I expected more than it seems to be doing. And to be fair, like again, this is the early parts of the game, but so far it just feels like a crash course in like, here's every VR game you've been playing for the last several years.
Yeah.
Like we're doing that too, and maybe it's a little more polished or whatever. But yeah, we've come up with an inventory system that lets you change tools in your hand also. But for whatever reason, they've decided to have a primary gun hand, and you can't change it.
Oh, huh.
Like a lot of games let you just pass a gun back and forth.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
This doesn't seem to do that. Which I could in situations where you're like taking cover, you're like, well, I'm taking cover in such a way that like using my left hand to shoot, which is I've got it set for left hand shooting, doesn't seem like what I want to do here. If I'm truly taking cover and trying to shoot around a corner, I want to put that gun in the other hand and do it.
Oh, you're talking about like dynamically swapping the gun back and forth?
Yeah. Like the gunplay feels like old in a way. Yeah. And maybe there's some interaction I'm missing that'll let you pass that gun off, but like I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's moving anything forward and changing stuff, which I think I expected. Like I said, Valve making another Half-Life game, when you think about when they've made Half-Life games, it's usually for a reason, and this doesn't.
Like they actually said that. Like I put this in news, but we might as well just mention it now that Kotaku did an interview with a couple of people, including Robin Walker, who's been there for I think ever, like, most of Valve's existence, about why they never made an episode 3, why it's taken this long, and it was kind of the thing we've always assumed, which is like they view Half-Life the same way we do, which is like a Half-Life game needs to make a big statement and like do something original and like solve a problem that nobody has solved yet. And so he was saying,
push the medium forward.
Totally. And so he was saying like that's why they never made episode 3, because they kept thinking like, okay, we can't just make a third episode. We need to make it do something new, and nobody could ever figure out what that should be, or the ideas were all too big for an episodic thing, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of what's brought them to this point. But
yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I think I'm fine if this is just like, let's take all the ideas other people have had in VR and roll them up into like a nice high production value thing. And specifically hearing that it turned in like a horror thing, like that seems very well suited to VR. And like the atmosphere is great and it looks great. So like, and the shooting is mostly pretty fun from what I've seen. So like,
what did you think of the Alyx, the character, talking?
I've seen so little of it, it's hard to say. Like she isn't a very well, like I know who she is.
Positionally, her.
Oh, you mean like the tech?
Yeah,
of it?
I mean just like conceptually, like you are playing as a character who is talking, who is not you, but it's like the voice sounds like it's coming from slightly behind my head.
Yeah,
and it's like I feel like I want to turn around and be like, "Who's this lady behind me talking?" And it's weird. It's weird.
Yeah, no, I didn't really, that didn't consciously register with me until you just said it, but now that you mention it, I was like, I do remember thinking, like, that voice sounds a little far away for being me.
Yeah.
Another thing, like, not to harp on just, like, tech and design stuff, but do they even have smooth turning, or is it just this kind of stuttery, staggered?
I don't know. I've been using the click turning. I think the idea is if you're going to smooth turn, you're probably standing up and physically turning.
Sure. Like they need to figure out a way. Like as of right now, every time you do that staggered turn, it readjusts where your position is in terms of the audio. So it'll be like you're getting different slices of positional audio as you turn.
Yeah, right.
It was super noticeable when like a plane was flying by and I was turning and it kept. They need to find a way to like interpolate that audio a little more smoothly.
I assume it has smooth turning because I think they threw in every single option they could think of. I need to check and see if it has any kind of color blindness settings too, because there was.
Were you running into some issues with stuff?
Yeah, there's like kind of like the first actual puzzle in the game is like you have to pull a red lever at this quarantine box.
Everything
and like I'm looking at it going like none of this looks like something I can interact with. I have no fucking idea.
Everything you're supposed
maddening.
Everything you're supposed to manipulate in the game is red.
Yeah,
from what I've seen so far.
Jesus.
Yeah, so I need to see if it has any options there that aren't just we're going to tint the whole world, because that never works. That never works.
It's kind of unfortunate. Last thing I'll say about it, that I was kind of impressed with the fact that granted I only played 30 minutes maybe, but I was able to use the smooth locomotion or whatever you call it the whole time and not get sick, which is not something I've ever been able to do in a VR game before, and I don't know why this is different, but
it's very slow. The movement's very slow.
Maybe that's why.
I found myself starting to teleport more and more just to get out, just to move, just to get going.
There were definitely spots where I started doing that too, but
but I played I think an hour 45 or something yesterday with a less than optimal frame rate, because as soon as I was streaming, it started chopping up a little bit more than it was normally, and I was still able to do that without getting sick. So that's I think everyone's going to be in a different boat there. But,
it seems like it's worth leaving the free movement on, even if you're not going to use it much, just because you can still teleport.
Yeah, but I think I'll have to try it with teleport on. But I think if you're using the real teleport, you can
get more
orient
options.
yourself.
Yeah, right.
You can rotate yourself, and I don't think you can do that if you're in free movement.
Yeah,
but
that makes sense.
Yeah,
I'm warming up to it as I get a feel for just like how they do things and how it wants me to play, and I'm kind of looking forward to seeing the rest of it.
I want to see more of it, but there's some part of me that wants to just not touch it until we're back in the office.
Yeah, that's fair.
So that I can play it like for real.
Sure.
I went back to the office to grab this PC, and I just saw it was. I've seen it pretty empty. Like I've stayed late and it's been relatively empty, but like everything was off. All the lights were off. There was one security guy. It was really weird. And then I saw our like little, VR sub studio that we built just in time for this to all go down. And just shed a single tear.
Were the bagels still there?
There was still some jalapeno cheddar bagels.
Oh no, just sitting out?
Actually, I did go in the studio and there was a teeny bit of coffee in a cup, and I think that was my bad, guys. But I took care of it. Don't worry.
Nothing growing in there.
It was real gross looking.
Ugh.
But no one's gonna throw that away afterwards. Now that you've thrown it away.
Oh shit!
That would have given some protagonist like +8 health if you had just left it there for a few more years and let the wasteland fully settle in.
That's right.
Someone would have found that and been like, "Oh, great, the currency of the future."
I've definitely had a couple of moments of moldy cheese and bread while we've been in this state and trying to make the hard decisions of, can I just peel that off and go, because I really don't want to go back to the store.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
All right. Third and final of the big new games, Doom Eternal also came out on Friday.
It's not the final big new game. Oh my god.
What
Fantasy Star Online.
It's not a real game.
New game.
That's an 8-year-old game.
It's never been a better time.
That's true, but it doesn't make it right.
That's an 8-year-old.
Join my alliance so that I can type in, please change your account name before you join the alliance, because all the default account names are like PN and then 12 digits. You can go in. There's 12, like way more digits than that. You can go in and change your name to something. Do that before you join up, because I'm having to transcribe people. You can't. When people say, I want to join your guild, you can't just hit a button that says, okay, and invite them. You have to write down their username and then enter it into a different field manually. And since it's all random numbers, Anyway, Doom Eternal's out.
Yeah.
Speaking of random numbers,
how much
overly complicated menus, Doom Eternal is out.
Can you skip the tutorial in Phantasy Star? I just want to make a character and join the alliance or whatever it is, and then probably never play it again. How fast can I do that?
You'd probably have to. You might be able to skip. I know you can skip the prologue with your second character. I don't know if it forces you through it with the first or not.
I probably shouldn't. Can you get achievements in that for
yes
paying?
Yes.
Okay, maybe
it has achievements.
I'm gonna download it.
It also has a Sonic the Hedgehog collaboration pack. I've turned my robot into a blue boy, and now it's a robot wearing a Sonic the Hedgehog mask, and you can still see the back of the robot's head. It's a real mess.
Speaking of real mess.
Oh, that's maybe a little harsh.
No, I'm kidding.
At the same time,
it's a little messy.
I
like the game, but it's a little messy.
I think I might like Doom 2016 better than Doom Eternal. That's
Me too.
I'm just gonna throw that out there. That's not to say that I don't like Doom Eternal, but I feel like that it is maybe a more elegant game. What do you? Well, I had played some of it this time last week, and you guys hadn't, so you're new to this. So
yeah,
I'll let you guys go, and then I'll chime in and stuff.
They try to do too much.
Yeah.
They took it in the wrong direction, and I think the writing is pretty bad. Or like the way they try to flesh out the character and stuff like that. So when you first finish like that first mission and get back to your space castle for the first time, and it has you wander around and open up the place where you can go fight guys and whatever, you come upon an office. That has like a 3-monitor setup with like files on the desktop that are folders that are like, like glorykills.mp4 and just weird shit like that. And like at first I was like, oh, is this the office of the person who owned the castle before I did? And I looked around a little bit more. I was like, no, this is like supposed to be the Doom guy's office. And there's like 3 guitars on the wall. And there's a picture of there's a painting of the Doom guy holding like a space bunny. And it's the most fucking Duke Nukem looking ass thing. Like the sense of humor in this game is so fucking far off from what the previous game was, or it's so like there's no subtlety to it.
Yeah,
and
I would mostly agree with that.
They've leaned into it in a way that's like just kind of makes the whole thing seem embarrassing.
The first game had like a camp to it that this one is severely lacking in, I think.
Campy, and also I'm trying to think. I'm not sure what word. There's a tone to the first game that is so hard to articulate that it must have been even harder to like write that way. Like it's hard to put my finger on why that game worked so well, and this one is a little more like over the top. Like I totally get what you're saying.
Again, it's like subtlety. It's like the way the story, especially like the moments of levity, whether it's in the codex entries or whatever in the last Doom game. Felt like effortless, or it felt like something they stumbled into without trying. It seemed like confident in a way,
and it was not very heavy-handed.
Exactly.
It was pretty subtle.
This is the opposite of that. This feels like they're like, you're gonna love this, and then they just filled it full of this stuff, and it comes across like it's trying too hard. It's not funny. It's not confident. It feels very. It just doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit.
Sure. Like,
it's
I think
such a bummer.
The thing I liked so much about the tone of the previous game is how much the protagonist seemed to like actively disdain everything that was happening around him. Like it's all embodied in the first 5 minutes when he like punches the fucking monitor that's trying to give him his mission objectives.
And like the E3 presentation for this game, I remember thinking it was funny because he grabs the dude's key card that's still around his neck and like pulls him over and scans him in to open the door. Like I haven't gotten to that part in the actual game, but I remember like walking away from the E3 demo and being like, "Oh, hey, this reminds me of Doom 2016."
Yeah, there definitely are still some of those moments in there, but it's not as like kind of pervasive and all encompassing like it was before.
Yeah, it's and I like I'm a few missions in, which the missions are long.
They're way too long.
I just
beat the 3rd or 4th mission, whichever one you get the super shotgun in, and I was waiting for it to end for what seemed like
and they're from what I've seen, they're all that long. Like I've gotten to the point where I can't count on finishing an entire mission in a single sitting necessarily.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It does let you suspend mid mission. Like,
Totally.
Yeah. That stuff's
you
very...
can walk away, but
And in fact, like, yeah, they're super accommodating for like finding secrets because they give you the fast travel now, so you can just like warp all over a level to get all the stuff you missed if you want at the end and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
It's definitely some.
But I feel like I'm getting
it
it all along the way, which means like I'm stopping and staring at the map after every encounter and going like, okay, wait a minute, okay, I can get here, I could do this, okay, and the last mission I finished, I got everything in it first time through, which was kind of cool. Yeah. But it just
on the other hand, I'm trying to get through the level as fast as possible because I know that there is that fast travel. I can go back and whatever. But to me, this game has been about forward motion. Like moving at all points, all times.
Yes,
that's probably the right way to play it because I gotta say like I feel like most of the upgrades that you can earn don't seem worth it. Like
on which of the 6 trees are you talking about?
Yeah, well, all of them. Like getting more health and armor and ammo seems good, but the bonuses that you get for like finding the synergies there for like, oh, the enemies stay on fire longer, like those don't seem all that useful. The runes, like when I first unlocked my first rune, it was like, which one of these 9 runes do you want to unlock? I looked at them and went like, oh, I don't know if I care about any of these.
Dude, really?
I
think the runes are...
The runes are the one thing I think that are like super cool.
I've got most of the runes now, and I definitely am having to like make hard choices about what 3 I want because there's more than 3 that I want.
The longer distance glory kills, the slow-mo.
I feel like
recharging
maybe it's
tools faster.
Yeah, no, I think
like in the previous game I really liked the glory kill from a distance stuff was really good, but I feel like that distance I'd have to go back and play old Doom or previous Doom, I guess. But like it feels like that distance is already fucking huge in this game, like out of the box. So I didn't get that one this time because I'm like, I'm not having trouble getting her. If anything, it's jarring sometimes that I'm like warping as far as I am when I hit that button.
I have had some weird warps where I've like gone up a ledge to glory kill somebody that I didn't know, and it just completely disorients me. And
like some of that stuff can be a little wild. But the wheel of upgrades, the one that's got like
the suit upgrades.
The suit upgrades, the Praetor suit upgrades feel like.
It feels like the last tick in each of them seems good, but I don't want to spend a bunch
but not great.
The one that pertains to combat, it's like switch weapons and mods faster. Dash recharges faster. I forget.
Dash recharges faster feels like the good one.
Yeah, those are actually a big deal. Like I definitely took those as fast as I could. And some of the like shoot 2 grenades before you have to cool down, and like exploding barrels don't hurt you, and exploding barrels respawn. Like there are enough good ones in there to be worth getting for sure.
But none of them seem crucial, I guess, is my point.
A lot of it also, I mean, this is not like, hard game club, but like a lot of it depends on difficulty because they do so much more damage on higher difficulties that you need to engage with the resource loop more because you're like on the verge of death half the time.
Well, I feel like on every, like even on the base difficulty level, like they really... I'd say that I think that resource loop is not working out as well as I thought it would at E3. Like seeing it on paper and then having... Like they had a tutorial built into that build that really walked you through that whole thing in a way that I think was really well done. Yeah. And it was like, okay, I fully understand this. And then they, at the beginning of this game, they kind of dump you in with half of it. And it's you have to engage with that. Like that is clearly how they want you to play that game. And it's when you see people complaining about like, oh, I'm always out of ammo. It's like, well, you're not playing it right. Like literally you're not playing it right because you need to be chainsawing to flamethrowing to like blood punching. You need to be engaging in those loops to maintain your resources at all times. And I think sometimes that feeling of wait, what do I got to do next? What am I low on? What like that it's process? I think it gets in the way. Yeah, exactly. It's too rigid and it gets in the way of like just enjoying these encounters.
It is rigid and definitely it's necessary. And also like I was shocked at how little ammo capacity you have early on in that game to the point that you have to be doing that stuff all the time. But like I don't mind that sort of 3-tiered like the armor, health, ammo loop. Where I run into problems with this game is the combination of the weak points on heavy enemies that you have to deal with or you just get melted. Yeah. And some of the level designs that kind of box you in where like you'll have like 2 Macubuses and 2 Macubi and 2 Arachnotrons and like all on top of you at once, and you're like with the amount of like backwards and sideways dashing you're doing, you're like sometimes you're dashing backwards into a corner without realizing it. And if I don't and I'm on a controller. I'm mostly playing on PS4, which is maybe to my detriment. But
yeah,
if I don't nail like both arm cannons on both Mancubuses and the back cannon on both Arachnotrons at the like very rapidly, or just get the fuck out of there properly, like I'm fucked. You know, like it feels like you can get boxed into situations sometimes where that stuff just piles up on itself a little too much, and it's just
I ran into a situation. Yeah, I ran into a spot where I literally could not move. Like a Mancubus was right up against me, and I was in some kind of nook in the map, and basically I burned through 3 extra lives right there.
Yeah.
Just like rocketing, just killing this thing to get it the fuck off of me so that I could move again. And that's a bummer.
I've had similar situations. Like you start getting weapons that kind of let you just actually brute force your way through that to some degree.
Yeah.
Like you can kind of just like smear everything in front of you and get out of there. But
and I like the when you charge up the heat on the plasma cannon, that heat discharge thing I think is like really cool.
There's a lot of fun fun combat tools like that to use for sure.
Totally. And I guess like some of those combat tools feel like underutilized or it feels like you're not necessarily encouraged to use those all the time, because instead you're like, okay, I need to chainsaw this next guy. I need to do this to this guy. I need to, because you're thinking about that loop to make sure that you're always maintaining over the course of a fight.
Yeah.
And when you get in that rhythm and you get in that flow, it's fucking incredible.
Totally. Like I don't want to sound too negative here, but like I'm playing on PS4. I'm playing on Ultraviolence, and I've been doing all the Slayer gates as I come to them, and a couple of those have been like some of the most heart-pounding, like exhilarating first-person shooter combat I've ever played. Like those,
the Slayer gates are the best part of that game so far.
Because it's just like it's a distilled and like tightly designed and laid out, like like a distillation of what the best parts of that combat are.
Yeah. Definitely.
I think Brad, you touched on it, but my single biggest problem is the weak point system. I think that it's like it's a weird nitpick, but like when I hear weak point, I think like, okay, you can kill an enemy normally, or you can focus on this thing and it'll be more effective. The weak points in this game mean you have to do this.
That is
like,
the problem.
You need to shoot this thing or you will fuck up.
They're mandatory for sure.
For like the guys with the shoulder cannons,
the Revenant.
The Revenant, it's like, okay, well, the easiest way to deal with those is snipe them. Well, I'm playing on controller, and this, like, Doom 2016 played so well on console. Like, I played through that entire game on PS4 on Ultraviolence. It was great.
Yeah.
I had a great time. I never felt like I was struggling with the controls. This one requires so much precision, and you're also, like, you have to use every single D-pad button. Like up is switch weapon mod, left is switch grenade. Like
last night I started looking into, they don't have a preset for this, and I think I'm too lazy to do all the remapping myself, but I started looking into like some kind of bumper jumper configuration so I could free up my thumbs for like camera and movement a little more. But
I'm planning on
bumping this down to normal difficulty. I wasn't struggling that much on hard, but like normal, I have 6 extra lives at this point. I have like I wish it was tweaked a little better, I guess.
I'm playing with mouse and keyboard, and there's definitely like, okay, I can just zoom in and snipe these cannons off this Revenant before this encounter even starts. Like that's definitely how I'm playing.
Like I had to fight when it came out on PC Thursday night. I started a nightmare run on there, and I had to like fight to go back to PS4 because I just want to finish the game. But if time was no object, I would totally start back over and just play on the PC, because that is the way to go. And yes, those precision shots are way easier to hit there for sure. I like all the systems they came up with in concept, from like the aerial mobility to the weak point stuff to all the weapon mods to the resource management. Like all of those things individually are all interesting and fun to engage with. I just feel like there are spots and again, some of this is exacerbated by level design, where they just don't all fit together quite as elegantly as I would like. And like, again, like those are kind of relatively infrequent. I feel like maybe once or twice a level is when I'm getting really annoyed with the game, but like, it's just enough to be like, I wish this was a little more even all the way throughout.
Yeah. And I think I just, there are elements of the story that I think, I don't know. It doesn't feel like as much of a direct continuation of the previous game as I think I would have wanted, or it picks up, years have passed and the Earth is fucked, and you're like, okay, I guess. Like it feels like another adventure of the Doomslayer and all that, as opposed to it just tonally feels very different. And story isn't always the thing that matters, I guess. But it's not pulling me through it in a way that a good story can.
I'm at the point where I am starting to become involved with one S. Hayden. If you need a little, I
figured he would eventually
keep going.
Yeah, no, I definitely am going to keep going. I am enjoying it. I think it's just it's okay. I think I'm enjoying it. It looks great. I just think a lot of the stuff around the edges, like we talked about, but also like, having it have all these challenges and it pops up and says you've leveled up in Doom and now you've unlocked more icons for your picture and your player card, and it's just like, I get that fucking shit out of here, man. It's fine that it has a multiplayer mode, but when I'm playing through campaign, I don't fucking want to even see that shit.
It's kind of weird. I don't mind it. It's a little out of place, but it's fine.
It just, in a game that is so laden with systems and numbers and currencies and items, like streamline that shit.
Yeah, and actually,
there should be one fewer skill tree. There should be, like one fewer. Like they should eliminate some of those pop-ups. Like, just give me the fucking action, man.
One thing I will agree with is that there are in-game challenges that are relevant to the gameplay. Like, have you guys done any of the mastery stuff for any of the weapons yet? Like,
I'm working on one now.
If you get all the mods on a weapon, then you unlock a mastery challenge, and then you get an ultimate upgrade for it. And like, those are relevant to the gameplay, and there are also challenges per level that get you upgrade materials. And I believe those are basically just intermingled with the weekly challenges that are just for cosmetics. They should have at least broken those out into separate categories. And
yeah, it was hard to know, like, getting into the menus and stuff, especially early on in the game when you aren't really sure what those cores or whatever they are do. There was definitely a feeling of just like, I'm not sure if any of these matter.
Yeah,
like, does the in-game challenges,
like the batteries.
The batteries.
Yeah, those definitely do. You unlock stuff in the castle.
Part of the ship, or the castle,
that are actual character upgrades.
Right, but early on, there was just this feeling of just like, man, I don't know if any of this is relevant. Also, I feel like they've got the loop, right? Of the flamethrower for armor, like it's got that stuff, and then I feel like when I got the ice grenade, it was this feeling of, okay, this game now has too much.
Yep.
Like 2 types of grenades that you have to toggle between, as opposed to a separate button for each one or whatever. Like that was the point, that even on mouse and keyboard, I've got a billion buttons at my disposal. That still felt like, I don't know that this game needed that. Or that should be something I should equip and choose one or the other before I go in, or something along those lines. Like that was the moment where I feel like the arsenal teetered in a direction of just like, you're already asking me to do so much. I'm already forgetting about grenades generally anyway, because they don't get me. They're just a get out of jail card. They're not actually getting me the resources I need. So they're like a suboptimal thing to use in the first place.
I kind of agree with that stuff. I also think it's easy enough to just I got the ice grenade and immediately switched back to the frag and then never touched it again. So like it is kind of easy.
Yeah,
to
totally.
Just that stuff.
And that's what I used the ice grenade 3 or 4 times, and I was like, is it actually good? Because if you freeze them, you can go up and then do a blood punch, or if you're getting resources out of that, like you would still use them for resources in a way that the regular grenades don't. But like something about the way those items are implemented and used here.
The best combo I found there is if you can catch a good wad of enemies and set them all on fire, and then
love a good Doom wad.
Totally. And then frag grenade them while they are all on fire. You will get a shit ton of armor out of that. And
or you freeze them and then light them all on fire when they're clumped up.
Yeah, and then blood punch them or whatever. There are good ways to synergize some of those abilities and get like extra stuff out of it, and that feels really good when you pop it at just the right time.
Right.
I gotta say, one more complaint. I think the UI is atrocious. The little tiny symbol,
the controller of button prompts.
Yeah, or having to manage your cooldowns effectively. And so I come from playing a bunch of Overwatch and Dota and stuff where your abilities are always very clearly in sight. Sometimes they even flash or make a sound when they're ready to use. And I think in this game, especially early on, I've gotten better about feeling the timings of them now as I've played more. But I just constantly was dying early on, having to look around for which tiny little square was all the way full for my flamethrower or my chainsaw.
I know
it does have the sound effects, but is it just sound effects for
the blood punch?
Yeah, when the blood punch is charged,
when it charges for sure, but I'm not sure if the other ones do, and that would definitely be appreciated. Maybe I just haven't noticed them. I'm not sure.
I feel like there are sounds for that stuff. There's definitely sounds for weak points and stuff like that, but I'm pretty sure there are sounds for most of the cooldowns.
In general, I will say the sound design in this game and the music is fantastic.
The music is fantastic, and also there's a bunch of fairly subtle references to, or a few at least, references to the original Doom soundtracks.
Yeah.
Like the intro music is
really
straight
good.
up like the E1M1 music.
Yeah.
It's
And then the first music item I found in a level was the E1M1 music.
Yeah.
And you could just play that in your space castle.
Also, what's up with all of the paintings being painted by Robert Prince in the castle? Did you notice that?
No, I did not. That's
Bobby Prince
had a lot of time.
working on
Had
his
a lot of time on his hands.
second career, I think. As far as the story stuff goes, like I don't disagree with you. I think when I played 2016, like it was such a good game to play that the fact that the story was also great, I just took as like a delightful bonus. So for that to not be there now is disappointing, but also it's like as long as the game is fun, I kind of don't care, you know?
You're right. But I think it's like it not only is it not there, but it's like forcing it in front of you in cutscenes and stuff that it's just like I don't care about these 3 months or whatever the fuck.
Just the cutscenes.
I mean, I want to see what they've got. I want to know what the game has to offer, but like just the preponderance of codex entries for like the Sentinels and the demons and the UAC and the story of Earth is just kind of a lot to the point that I've stopped reading all of it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a bit much.
I think you guys are right. Like when it's clicking, when everything's working right, it feels really nice. Like it's actually one of the tightest like first-person shooter experiences maybe I've ever played.
Yeah.
But there's so many little distracting things for me that just kind of throw it off a little bit, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, and again,
Like,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say 2016. You know, it definitely did less, but what it did, it really nailed. I feel like this overshoots and underdelivers a little bit.
That's where I'm at. I think like 2016 was such an elegant game that it's like, you know, it sounds ridiculous to call a game perfect, but like I couldn't think of a way it could have been better, you know, like it did exactly what it was trying to do. And this
the
game,
multiplayer could have been good.
Well, whatever.
but yeah, the campaign, yes.
That game didn't have multiplayer, but
neither does this one.
This game, the multiplayer is not terrible in this. It's okay. I don't know.
It's a neat idea.
I don't know that I'll play a ton more of it, but I had fun playing the Slayer in that mode. But yeah, I'm with Ben on this. Like this one is so much more ambitious, and again, each of those individual pieces that they try to do new stuff with is pretty cool in a vacuum. It's just that again, there are spots where they don't quite all come together. But again, like I think it was the 4th Slayer gate I did last night. It's like there are 2 cyber demons as soon as you spawn in there, like 2 cyber demons right next to each other on top of all the other shit. And that thing took me like 10 straight minutes, but I beat it on the first try. And by the end of it, I was just like, I realized I hadn't like breathed in 2 minutes, you know? Like,
have you seen people are like hooking up heart rate monitors to themselves as they play Doom, and you can just see it spiking.
At its best, it is totally that. Like when it's really firing on all cylinders and everything's working, like it's super fun.
So that's how I felt like playing it at E3. Like when the demo at E3 ended, it was kind of a Slayer Gate style setup at the end. There was definitely like a like, okay, like as it was ending, I was like, holy shit, I can't believe I did that. And then I haven't felt that way in this game yet since. So I don't know. It's really cool in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And I want to see it through. It looks great. Like I can run it with everything turned all the way up and great frame rate, all this other stuff. It's ultra nightmare. All it's a fantastic looking game.
Yeah.
But yeah. Also, I don't think that like their reliance on platforming. You know, we in that video we did.
Oh yeah.
When you came back for it, I was like, man, I don't know about the platforming. And like I did that sequence that was in the video, and then some of the other stuff with the dashes, and it's like it's functional. It's just not what I want to do. It works. It's fine. It's not broken, but it's just not how I want. I would rather. I wish that they had just tightened up the experience a little more and made it more action focused. I think that some of the stuff they have you doing for
I don't want an obstacle
dashes.
in my Doom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just.
And I think it's especially jarring coming from like playing Ori for a couple hours where the platforming is so nice and perfect to Doom where it's like serviceable but a little clink. Okay. One very specific nitpick with the platforming, whoever thought it was a good idea to put the little red, like, don't climb around these things as you're climbing up a wall thing is it's so fucking stupid. Oh my God. It's just, you have to keep twisting the camera around. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't even do enough damage. Like I've just like been crawling through those in a lot of cases, just going, fuck it, whatever, man. I just don't care.
But health is just another rip and tear away.
Exactly. There's always more where that came from.
Totally. Yeah, I really like it overall. I'm excited to see where they take it, even though some parts of it maybe could be better a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, All right, that is a grip of brand new video games that we have discussed. We need to take a quick break here, and then we'll be right back. All right, we're back, and I have discovered that doing this podcast from home allows you to eat some greasy fried potatoes really fast in the break before you get back to things.
I do that every week.
Oh, yeah?
I just keep it in my backpack.
Oh, man.
Reach in, grab a handful.
Wow.
Yeah, but if you spill coffee at home, it's your home.
Hey, man, you win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
Too real.
Yeah, it's not. Anyway.
Sorry, I didn't mean to bring real life into this. I know.
Putting my coffee situation on blast. Oh, God, I missed a spot.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Hold on. Talk amongst
But is your
yourselves.
Dota coaster okay?
That thing is going in the sink for sure. Stupid Dota
Brett
coaster.
spilled the coffee, but now it's time to spill the tea. Here
Hey.
is the news.
Okay, all right, yeah, news, music. Wow.
You want to hear that? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Put a keyboard in between
Do that again.
the break.
Do that again.
News.
Oh, wow, okay.
Shit.
I had
Damn, son, where'd you find that?
I had a Chrome window up getting the news. I thought you were playing a kazoo or something in there.
All right, next week, fuck it. Next week, if this is how it's gonna go, if this is how the escalation goes, I'm gonna figure out voice meter potato and then wire my soundboard through this, and you're gonna get a fucking double barrel.
We're all gonna have soundboards before this is over.
Yeah,
Vinny is a big evangelist of voice meter stuff, and I've had the potato installer just sitting here for a few days, afraid to run it. But
it seems like once you get it set up, it's fine. But until then,
it looks awesome. It looks incredibly capable, but it's a lot to set up for sure.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
Speaking of a lot to set up, PlayStation 5.
Hey.
I got one of those.
Oh, whoa.
What?
Yeah.
How is it?
No, wait. No,
No,
hang on.
that's
This
a
is
PS2
4.
taped
Sorry.
to a
This is
PS3.
Yeah. Sorry. I looked. I thought it was something else.
The PS5, as of right now, as far as we know, does not run PlayStation 1, 2, or 3 games, but stay tuned, I guess.
Yeah, they
Okay.
said it'll run 4 and 4 Pro games. Which is,
It'll run most of the
Most.
top 100.
No, they
Top
have
1,000.
updated
top
that.
1,000.
yeah.
They've updated that. We'll get to that stuff. But what did you guys think of that presentation?
That was a GDC ass presentation.
Mark Cerny
Yeah.
has a presence about him.
Mhm.
The man is a professional.
Yeah.
I agree with a lot of people who said maybe this was look, I get that it was a GDC presentation. We all knew that going in, for developers, not for us, the dummies. But like as a first kind of here's us talking in depth about the PS5, it was
A bad way to do it.
Yeah.
Like kind of misreading the room,
Yes.
in a sense. Like
The talk, it was
definitely
fine.
like. Yeah, of course. Like it's as a thing that they're getting out there as they're talking to more and more developers more widely. Like, of course, they would have this type of presentation. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And they got some stats out there as a part of this, but it seems like I think Microsoft's done a better job of figuring out how to get stats out there in a way that seems meaningful and contextualizing those things in like, here's what it means for you, the end user.
Human readable is the language in the Unix world. They should have run that talk with a -H flag. Anyway, like if he had given that exact same talk at GDC and they had streamed that thing out, I think it would have been totally fine. Just in that different context, like the problem arose with the tweet that went out the day before, which I don't have it in front of me, but I think the language was something along the lines of like tune in tomorrow to witness the future of PlayStation, the road to PlayStation 5 or whatever, and like that. Yeah. Especially the day after Microsoft had come out with like both barrels just blasting the internet with all that information. I think people had certain expectations that were absolutely not met by that stuff.
Right. But I think they got vital information about their plans out there, even if it's not as sexy or as like sexily delivered. Well, whatever. It's Mark Cerny. I mean, it's plenty sexy.
PlayStation has an ASMR engine built in, apparently.
Yeah. No, send your ear pictures in now. this kind of lines up, I think, with some of the stuff that we'd heard prior.
Yeah, a lot of the rumors about specs seem pretty accurate. Like this thing seems powerful, not quite as powerful as the Xbox.
But also, like I think we'll see when we start seeing third-party games running on both systems, we'll see how much that matters.
Yeah, totally.
I think that'll be the actual real world test here. Yeah. And like I think there's some things about the PS5 that it seems like, if you're using it right, it'll be fine. It's not like it's some underpowered thing or whatever. But
console warriors want to latch onto a single number and say that it's bigger than a different single number.
I think the thing you look at going back to some of that Xbox coverage that Digital Foundry put out, and there's a line in their interview, if I'm remembering it correctly, where Microsoft starts talking about the CPU speeds and saying like they really wanted us to know that there was no boost involved here. Yeah. This was the power you get at all times. Yeah. So it seemed pretty clear at that point, like now in the wake of like Mark Cerny getting out there and talking about like, well, we can boost up to this, this type of gigahertz if we need to, and sort of stuff. You're like, oh, okay, like yes, of course they heard all the same shit everyone else did, and got out there a few days ahead of that.
And also
their own stuff.
Some of the subtext and some of the language they've used has been kind of funny to see. Like there was that bit in the Cerny talk where he basically said like, teraflops on one console are not equivalent to teraflops on a different console.
Right. Yeah. And of course they're going to say that, but also, they're going in different directions or trying to focus on different things. Like the amount of time they gave to like their positional audio stuff, I found fascinating because like audio is cool. And I think there's more that can be done with it. But like, again, that's not something that is like a sexy topic to get in front of people with. So I wonder, it just seemed like strange things to focus on in the wake of like what Microsoft had said. But if that's what you got, that's what you got to get out there with, I guess. I don't know. They did say, I think the thing that they kind of shot some holes in, but I guess maybe not completely, was the backwards compatibility all the way to PS1. But PS4 is really the only one they need to guarantee in terms of like, hey, the hardware will be able to handle it. And it seems like they're presenting that information, even though they had to clarify after the fact. That sounds a lot like when the PS4 Pro came out and they said like, hey, almost every game will run.
Totally.
But they can't guarantee that yet because they're still testing, they're still doing stuff.
To me, that was fairly evident in the language he used at the time. But of course, as soon as he said top 100 games, people just disregarded all the context around what he was saying.
Of course,
like to him, I think like in an engineering context, he was saying like, here are the games we've tested. We know that these games work. He wasn't saying these are the only games that work.
Yeah.
But they still yesterday at some point on the PlayStation blog they did put out a clarification on that stuff that I'll just read so we have it here. A quick update on backwards compatibility. With all of the amazing games in PS4's catalog, we've devoted significant efforts to enable our fans to play their favorites on PS4. We believe that the overwhelming majority of the 4,000 plus PS4 titles will be playable on PS5. And I don't know that the "we believe" language is the most reassuring thing to some people.
But that's like that's the real language, right? Because
I'm sure they didn't test each and every one.
Yeah. So they're not there yet.
Totally. And the rest of the statement is we're expecting backwards compatible titles will run at a boosted frequency on PS5, so they can benefit from higher or more stable frame rates and potentially higher resolutions. We're currently evaluating games on a title-by-title basis to spot any issues that need adjustment from the original software developers. In his presentation, Cerny provided a snapshot into the top 100 most played PS4 games, demonstrating how well our backwards compatibility efforts are going. We have already tested hundreds of titles and are preparing to test thousands more as we move toward launch. So,
yeah. But also, like, at the same time, to compare to where Microsoft is at with that stuff, like Microsoft has had a team in place for generations. Working on this sort of stuff, and it's become a focus of theirs, whereas Sony wrote it off until very recently as something that no one cared about.
There is no question that the Xbox solution for this stuff is dramatically more robust, because it sounds like they set out as a fundamental design goal in the hardware to make sure that all that stuff would work. So they're already out there saying like every Xbox One game will run on a Series X. Every one of the 360 and Xbox original games that already ran backwards compatible will run on a Series X. And like a lot of those games will benefit from performance improvements. Like it's a much more comprehensive solution for sure.
Yeah, and I think I'm curious. So obviously, like Sony likes to resell old games. They've put out PS2 classics and PS1 classics on various platforms over the years. So I expect that we'll see something like that. But honestly, like with how powerful current console hardware is going to be, you could just do software emulation of PS1, 2, and 3 games and get pretty good results. I feel like on a modern PC for sure. Like I can play PS3 games quite well on this computer I'm sitting in front of.
Yeah.
Not every game's compatible. It's hobbyist development, all that sort of stuff. But like Xbox 360 and PS3 emulation is actually quite good in a lot of ways. So if these platforms are powerful enough, you could potentially get there through just software. So it might be that part of their story right now is talking about the PS4 and PS4 Pro, because that's the stuff they need to guarantee. And that's the stuff that is like relevant from a technical perspective to developers currently making games today. But I still think there's a possibility that we see some sort of announcement around older games.
Especially based on some of the patents that were getting out there a while back. Like I still wouldn't rule out there being some kind of hardware-based solution for some of that stuff in here. Like we don't know what, but that could have been, obviously they weren't going to go to E3, but that could have been more of the like gala stage presentation reveal for this thing, like something they're saving for that, because that is a like walking out on stage and sticking like a fucking, I don't know. What game do you pick?
Sony
what's your game?
Passing discs to people has gotten them pretty far in the past.
Right.
So if Mark Cerny, like if Sean Layden was still, if he could walk out there with a Vib Ribbon disc or something.
Yeah, what's the game? Is it Crash Bash? Is that the one you walk out on the stage and stick in the PS5 or,
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. But anyway.
No one wants that.
No, probably not. Maybe somebody does. Let's see. So yeah, like this thing is fast. It's not as fast as the Series X necessarily, but like I feel like even this generation, even less so than the previous generation, that stuff's going to matter, because like the difference between 900p on the Xbox One and 1080p on the PS4 even was way more noticeable than like actual native 4K versus like almost 4K is going to be here.
We'll see. I think again, we'll have to see when third-party games are coming out, because I think the other thing we'll run into, everyone's talking up their hard drive speed. Everyone's talking about like how well they use hard drives, and there's going to be no loading times.
Yeah, that's the actual big story of the PS5 for sure.
But what about developers that are developing across multiple platforms?
Yeah.
What about
that was my first thought.
What will the requirements be from Microsoft and from Sony around load times? What will they mandate developers do around load times? Will they force people to have no load times? If they're also making a PC version that has to run on a bunch of different configurations, will they,
including spinning hard drives?
Right, including 54 fucking 100 RPM hard drives. Like, are developers truly going to optimize for consoles and this kind of load time free future, or are they just going to go like, whatever, who cares, and stick to what they've been doing? And I think that's my worry, is that this potential is there, and obviously first-party games will be all in on this shit, but will third parties be there with it? Or how hard is it for third parties to take advantage of all that stuff? Is it something that comes automatically, or are they gonna have to do like major work to their engines to get there, that they're gonna look at and go like, actually we'd rather spend that time doing something else on the game, than doing this stuff? So we'll put a load screen in here and there, deal with it.
To give the proper context to this topic, Sony's storage is incredibly fast. Like, they've done apparently a massive amount of work to, they've got their own kind of custom IO stack, and they're saying that their loading throughput, their storage throughput is like maybe going to be double or more what Microsoft's is. So that definitely raises some questions, about how that stuff's going to work cross-platform. Like PS5 exclusives made by Sony-owned studios that only have to run on a PS5, like they're probably going to be able to do some pretty amazing stuff with that stuff.
Yeah.
I thought, like, as much as people criticize this talk for being like super dry and technical, did you guys see that graphic he put up of like here's a castle over here, and here's like part of a city over here, and then here's this super narrow canyon you have to walk through for 45 seconds to get between them?
Yeah.
Like, that was the example he gave of like, here's how level design is constrained by the speed of loading off of a hard drive right now. Like, developers have to compromise what they're doing to stream assets off of a slow drive to get you from place to place, right?
Yeah.
I thought that was a great example of like, here's how the actual design of games could change based on the capabilities we're building into these things.
Right, until they have to make it on a PC also.
Exactly. That is where you have to wonder, like, okay, what does that mean for PS5 games that also have to run off of a hard drive on a PC?
Yeah.
I talked to a friend of the site, Will Smith, about this stuff a little bit. A couple of his predictions were that we might see RAM requirements for PC ports go through the roof, or like massively increase.
What are they these days? Is 16 usually the recommended, or they recommend 32?
I don't look at that stuff, but I've been using 16 gig of memory on a PC for like 8 years or more now, and it's been fine the whole time.
I always feel like I go double what I got 32 in this, and even then I was looking at it and going like, oh, I thought I had 64. Weird.
Yeah. So he theorized that maybe if games do take advantage of this stuff across all platforms, that you would see higher RAM requirements to help compensate for that on PC, or you might just see developers starting to list specific grades of SSD in their minimum specs for games, and work around it that way. So it's that, I don't know. That's weird, uncharted territory.
Because even you end up with like just PCIe 4 is not widely available on PC yet, right? The number of people that are going to even be able to take advantage of that stuff is pretty low right now.
Yeah. So actually, come to think of it, that was another piece of news that came out of this thing, is that contrary to Microsoft's strategy of making you buy like a proprietary storage card to stick in the console, to expand the storage, Sony's just going to let you buy off-the-shelf SSDs to stick in there. Highly
specific, approved SSDs. Like, they're going to have a compatibility list of stuff that'll work, which we'll see how that goes. But
I guess that's better than nothing, but that does kind of limit you to what are probably going to be some pretty pricey drives for a while.
Well, it's it's pricey technology. It's newer technology. Like, of course, it's going to be that way.
This is, to a large extent, this is sort of the cost of progress of this nature.
Yeah. But whatever, I think like for as underwhelming as the presentation was, like it was like another bit of info that's like, okay, cool. Like I'm excited about seeing what these things can do now.
Yeah.
That we've gotten some of this basic kind of number crunching out of the way. Like, make it matter. Show me how it matters. Start showing me games.
Yeah, and that's why I liked that graphic about level design, just because it was like, hey, we can not have these bottlenecks in levels that you have to suffer through for a minute while we load assets anymore.
The Mass Effect elevator.
Totally. I think he literally said the word elevator in that example.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So
the Gears of War walk and talk.
Yep, totally. When do you guys think we get like the full on everything? Here's what it looks like. Here's the price.
I honestly thought they would have done it then. Because they are now suddenly moving this presentation that was targeted towards like GDC folks to like everyone else. I thought they would have just put a cap on it. It's like, hey, here's a box, or maybe I don't know, something on stage the whole time was a box.
Yeah, like a summer at least, right?
Do you think there's a chance they were planning to maybe get a leg up on E3 and go like the week before?
Yes. That would be my guess. Is
get out there right before Microsoft.
Exactly. That something in May or early June or something like that would have probably made sense for them, just to have it out there ahead of that. And I feel like with everything in total disarray now around like what are the digital events that are replacing E3 going to look like, and also like, are they going to happen that same week, or are people going to spread out? Like, I think that like anyone that's like trying to make these plans tactically is probably thinking like, oh, well, we don't know now if Microsoft's going to go at E3, so should we go here or should we go here? This generation feels a lot more back and forth like that than I think it has for a bit. They are being overtly strategic about some of this stuff in a way that I feel like we didn't get too much last generation. Or even the generation before that.
And also,
last generation they had the the comfortability, and that they knew Microsoft was going to go ahead of them, so they were able to counter with whatever they needed to.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
There was that whole story, about Microsoft announcing their price in the morning, and then Sony that evening. Yeah, totally. Speaking of events being made up, GDC Summer, anybody?
Cool. No,
maybe
it's not going to happen. What do you thought? Like they're trying to have it. No, they're trying to have a GDC in August. I mean, who's going to fly to San Francisco in August? I don't even want to drive to San Francisco in August.
I'm in San Francisco, and I don't want to go to San Francisco.
It's hard to imagine a world where anyone feels comfortable doing that.
Yeah, it feels maybe a little aggressive to me with things as uncertain as they are right now.
Well, I mean, everything's going to be fine in 14 days, I thought.
Oh, yeah, we're all back to work after next week.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Yeah, they're saying GDC Summer is the name of the event. Will be August 4th to the 6th at Moscone in San Francisco, as of right now. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm going to say, I'm just going to come out and say 0% chance that happens.
Wow.
Or if it does happen, it will seem like an extremely bad idea.
Yeah.
I just, no fucking way.
Yeah.
No fucking way. Like an international event, people flying in, traveling to come to no fucking way.
Yeah, it seems
no fucking way.
Seems a little dicey.
No, DICE is in February. They already got that out of the way.
Oh, they're good. Man, you know about how much handshaking goes on at that thing.
Oh, God.
So the language is not super clear, but it sounds like they're kind of changing up the format and the offering a little bit here. Comprised of high-quality technical content mixed with valuable roundtable discussions. The event will also host a new series of micro talks and fireside chats, as well as dedicated space for comprehensive career development sessions, et cetera, et cetera. Like, that almost sounds to me like, hey, we know this people are not going to have time to get proper talks together for this thing, so we're going to do a little bit more of an informal thing.
The fucking Olympics aren't happening.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
It also sounds like significantly smaller, and maybe they'll have like some kind of larger online component to it because they hopefully realize that there's going to be a whole bunch of people that are like, I ain't coming to the United States right now.
Yeah. Tough to say where this is going to go.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I feel like it's pretty similar.
Yeah, I could see it for sure.
If they do it, oh man, oh God, I can't believe it. Yeah, no fucking way.
Yeah. In other news around the ongoing pandemic, Square Enix has felt the need to get out there and reiterate multiple times now that the release of the Final Fantasy VII Remake is going ahead on April 10th as planned. But they have also said pretty explicitly, hey, because of the realities around this thing, let's see. I'll just read it. With the unforeseeable changes in the distribution and retail landscape, which varies across countries, it is increasingly likely that some of you will not get hold of your copy of the game on the release date. Obviously, if you're going to download it, assuming your internet is up, that won't be a problem.
Right.
But, yeah, they put that out early last week, and they were like, hey, we will update you on Friday the 20th, and then they posted back again on the 20th saying, still going ahead. So...
Yeah,
I guess there's some possibility that could still change at some point, but as of right now, they are.
Well, I wonder if they're not going to ship out retail copies, do they still put it on sale digitally, or do they just push the whole thing back?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think they just delay the.
You mean if they do like actually delay the physical release?
Right.
Yeah. I think they have to delay the whole thing at that point. I guess.
But I wonder, is it a delay on their part, or are they just saying, "Hey, we know that Amazon is not shipping stuff out"?
I think that's what it is. I think it's
it's less about their ability to produce the copies because those are probably already in a warehouse somewhere.
I think that's the case.
So it's really just like, hey, you might not get it on a release day because hey, you ordered it from a physical place and that place is closed.
I mean, I guess it is possible that at this point they aren't able to get the volume of copies out there that they need to, but yeah, I took it more
probably also depends on the country. Like I feel like different countries have different shutdown levels.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Traditionally you would have said, hey, well, if you can't get the retail version out, then you don't want to sell the digital version yet because then you're burning all your retailers.
Right.
But I feel like with the way GameStop's been lately, like
yes. Speak of the devil. GameStop has
the devil, you say?
Finally, after some amount of strife, they have finally made the decision to close their retail locations for the time being. They're going to be doing curbside pickup for some products, but they're no longer taking in trade-ins or, again, even maintaining open retail space at the moment. That was after some amount of trying to argue that they are an essential business and forcing all of their sales associates to continue working in their stores.
God, what was their fucking quote? Like, every day we learn new information about COVID-19, and we finally learned enough information to realize it's bad.
Yeah.
We decided it's not good.
Yeah.
The essential business thing was just like, man, fuck, you're really going to try and pull this right in the middle of all this shit. you're gonna try and pull that.
Especially because I saw, I think maybe it was leaked internal communications or something implying that like regional managers were no longer having to visit stores, but the associates on the ground were still having to come in and run them.
Oh wow!
This is probably it for them, right? I mean, if they wouldn't be taking these measures unless things were really that dire. Like I have to imagine an extended period of closure here. If they miss any, bigger releases that would have factored into, like them making money if all those dollars shift to digital. Like more stuff's going to shift to digital as a result of everyone being locked in their houses, and I don't think that's going to change back once things open back up.
Yeah,
I wonder if this is going to be the thing that finally just pushes GameStop over.
It has been kind of fascinating to see various services that we use being kind of stress tested in the last couple of weeks, like Discord has gone down a few times and some stuff like that.
I have a question you guys might not know the answer to, but like, let's say I pre-order a game with GameStop and then GameStop ceases to exist. What happens?
You probably become a very low-tier creditor.
Yeah. You probably don't see that money back, if I have to guess.
And if you have like trade-in credit sitting on a receipt somewhere in your wallet,
what should I do?
Like I
gotta get some Funkos. I gotta cash those in.
You might want to use that sooner than later. Although not right now because you can't go to a store.
Just get online, get those Funkos.
Yep. Get those Funkos.
I'm looking at all this room you have behind you. You
got my Thanos.
I left that Bloodhound.
No, I ordered Thanos. Go back in the store.
Jeff gave me a Bloodhound Funko that I have proudly displayed on my desk. I should have brought it home.
Wow, I do like that bee that you have on the wall, though.
Yeah,
I didn't realize Apex had reached Funko territory.
Oh yeah,
everybody has.
That's fair. They'll just take anybody at this point.
Yeah.
Like a little pineapple tree.
Not a lot of design work required. Thank you.
No, that's
turn the eyeballs into black dots and you're good.
Yeah.
All right. Here is a quick story that Ben noticed right before we started today, which is that these rumors have been swirling about Silent Hill coming back or Silent Hills and potentially Kojima being involved, and the website Rely on Horror actually got a quote out of Konami North American PR about this stuff. And here's the quote. "We're aware of all the rumors and reports, but can confirm that they are not true. I know it's not the answer your fans may want to hear. It's not to say that we are completely closing the door on the franchise, just not in the way it is being reported." So
Sony's not involved. But
Kojima is not making Silent Hill.
Kojima is still involved.
Wait, was Sony supposedly part of this, or?
Yeah, like there was talk that like Sony was going to acquire the IP.
Oh, wow.
or
I must have missed that.
Yeah. There was a lot of, or it'll just be
tied into, because weren't they like it was talked that they were going to get the Metal Gear license as well, or
that was part of it.
That was part of it.
Jeez, I missed that.
So I think it was all
rumor.
I think what we're going to end up here is Kojima is working on a Silent Hill pachinko machine.
Okay.
That's what we need.
Pretty exciting stuff.
That's what we need.
Dude, what future events is he going to predict this time, man?
That you lost all your money playing pachinko.
Oh, that sounds like me.
Yeah, exactly.
Is anybody like emulating the software of pachinko machines yet? That seems like something somebody would do. Is there an effort around like dumping those games?
Like digital pachinko machines?
Video slot machines, like fruit machines in the UK and stuff like that. A lot of those have been emulated in MAME.
Okay.
But no pachinko machines as far as I can tell.
Give it time.
Games with a physical component are a little weird.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if there are online, like I know you can play the crane game online and like control a virtual. I wonder if you can virtually play real pachinko.
There are a billion iPhone apps that I think are just pachinko things, and like a bunch of like
I want to control a robot that is actually on a real pachinko machine.
We all want to control a robot, but until then, there's a bunch of PS2 games that came out in Japan that are just patchy slot machines and stuff like that. I think they even did a controller that's like the little valve thing. But I don't know.
It's exciting. Speaking of exciting, last story here. Little blog post went up on Friday on playartifact.com entitled Under Construction.
Whoa.
Yes, it's back.
Does
You all
construction
laughed at
entail
me.
tearing
You
stuff
called
down?
me.
Names. We called Ben names.
You called me mad. You guys laughed at my face when I said Valve put out a game before Half-Life Alyx. You said that doesn't count.
Well,
It
Artifact's
doesn't
not
count
real.
because they're going to put out Artifact soon.
To be fair, Artifact was a game that Valve founder Gabe Newell refers to as an interesting failure. So I guess that is technically still a game, but so yeah, a blog post ran on the Artifact site, and Gabe gave an interview to Edge, also talking about this. And the upshot is, it sounds like Artifact is coming back sooner than later. It's kind of my read on this.
I didn't look at the full interview, but I think it's interesting that they haven't talked much about Richard Garfield's involvement in.
He left.
Because he left,
Yeah.
right? But like, if
Not only did he leave, but didn't he make some public comments about, like, it sounded like he didn't part on the best terms, like maybe they had different ideas for where it should
it's
go.
like
to
very
him?
curt.
Yes. Yeah. So I think the full interview was only in the print version of Edge. I've just got like a little summary here, where Gabe says, Artifact was an interesting failure in its first go-round. We were surprised. We thought it was a really strong product. We ran an experiment. We got a negative result, and now we need to see if we've learned anything from that, so let's try again. And that's what the Artifact team has been doing, and that's what they're getting ready to release. Based on the reaction to it, what was wrong with the product, how did we get there, let's fix those things and take another run at it. So, like, that sounds kind of like it's coming soon.
It's, this is Valve we're talking about. Nothing's ever coming soon.
Yeah.
Until it's got a date.
Yeah. Well, the post on the Artifact site says, you might notice some changes soon. We are starting tests on our systems and infrastructure. So
That's just to get ready for the load of players that are now stuck at home playing Artifact 1.
Yeah, that's the whole 100 something.
Oh.
Yeah. They do say this shouldn't impact live Artifact, but we wanted to give you a heads up.
It's to the 40 people
Yeah.
playing Artifact right now.
Yeah, but they do say expect more news after the launch of Half-Life Alyx, so maybe sooner than later. I'm going to throw this out there while we are in this work at home situation. I would try a new Artifact.
Oh yeah.
Give it a
Why
shot.
don't you try old
even-
Artifact?
I
Get good
liked-
now.
Yeah, I mean, I liked old Artifact just fine. I thought it was an interesting, maybe too complex game with a terrible business model. So if they can tweak that stuff, I don't know. I have moderate hopes for it.
Actually, here's an interesting little tidbit from this game's radar story, which writes up the Edge stuff. Edge reports that internally the follow-up to Artifact is being referred to as Artifact 2.
What?
It's unclear if this will be a full-blown sequel, a No Man's Sky-style comeback, or something else entirely. But Newell stresses that Valve has, quote, to do a larger reboot in order just to justify its existence to customers and to markets.
What if instead they called it Defense of the Artifact 2?
Ooh, okay. Sure.
Tactics.
Okay.
Chess.
I'm in. Let's all get into Artifact.
There's never been a better time
Anybody?
to get into Artifact.
Okay.
I've been into Artifact. I'll show you my axe deck later.
Ooh.
Do not show me your
I'm gonna
axe
show it.
deck.
Don't ask.
We can't, Brad. We can't leave news because Jeff promised a hot take. About
Oh shit! I'm
Fantasy
sorry, I
Star.
skipped a story. Let me get back to that. I mean, it's a very minor story, not a huge deal. I don't know where it went. It looks like it failed to open, which is why I didn't see it. Give me a second. Whatever. The upshot is, Microsoft's adding some trinkets to Game Pass on a monthly basis, pretty similar to what Twitch has been doing with Twitch Prime,
sure.
and like claiming loot in different games and stuff like that. So, a couple of examples to kick this thing off. They're going to be putting out some exclusive cosmetics for Sea of Thieves, like an Ori and the Will-o'-the-Wisps mast for your ship. And then there's also like World of Tanks, Mercenaries, Sea of Thieves, Smite are some examples
Oh
of
boy,
games that
they're
will
in
be getting
good
stuff in.
company.
And the one Phantasy Star Online 2.
Oh.
Which if you're a Game Pass subscriber will get you
Jack shit
well
because it's broken.
okay, we'll
The
get there.
battle pass is broken.
Supposedly Game Pass subscribers will get in Phantasy Star Online 2 some extra Meseta crystals to buy items with. Is that like the paid currency?
No, it's the regular
That's
currency.
the fake, like the free grind currency. And you will get the, do I have this right? The gold ticket version of the mission pass, which is kind of their battle pass. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right.
Which you also get by buying the Sonic the Hedgehog collaboration. But I think you also get like a premium set for 30 days or something like that too.
Okay.
But it's completely broken. So I was able to redeem this in game, and when I go to my mailbox for where like the campaign items that I have redeemed thing is, it says I have 2 things sitting there that are supposed to be the Microsoft things, but they just show up as blank in the menu. And when I hit A on them, it just errors out and says something, that there's a problem, and so now I've perpetually got these 2 items in this stash that I can't interact with. Apparently they've acknowledged that it's a problem, but I checked right before we started recording, and they have not fixed it.
They need another 8
Damn it.
Another 8 years to get that stuff worked out.
Oh,
Just stay subscribed to Game Pass.
I ended up buying the Sonic set so that I could wear the Sonic the Hedgehog mask, and it's creepy.
Are you guys?
I have a feeling they don't have too many people working on Fantasy Star Online 2.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, especially now.
Like maybe a couple dudes that have been like trying to get this pushed
Yeah.
for about 8 years or so.
I don't
They
think
finally gave
Sega
it to
knows
them.
that this happened.
Right.
I think there's just like some skunkworks operation
Yeah.
where they're just like, oh, we're over here working on new Sonic the Hedgehog website. All right, we gotta go. But this is what they're doing instead.
Yep. I think that might be the case.
Are you guys going to keep playing PSO2?
I don't know that I am.
Yeah, I probably will.
All right. I did think this story was interesting just from a kind of value proposition perspective of like, not necessarily the same quality or number of games going on Game Pass every month. So they're like looking for other ways to, make people feel like they're getting their money's worth.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. Yeah.
So-
And if you happen to be playing one of those free to play games, like that's
Bonus.
those are
Sure.
decent bonuses
Yeah,
for
like
each one of those.
That shit works for games that you're into, like whenever Twitch ran stuff for Destiny or Apex, like I got in there and claimed that shit.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hey, even if you're not into the game immediately, you might try it out
Yeah.
and
There's
say,
the-
"Hey, I tried it out. I got my money's worth." Whatever.
It might seem like a cheap move, but it works. It's stuff. All right. That's it for news, unless anybody wants to talk about the bobbleheads in No Man's Sky, which are kind of cool, but I just said the news.
I saw a picture of him and I was like, oh, that's cool.
kinda neat.
I don't-
It's kind of neat.
Did you sit on the dash or what?
Yeah, you get a little bobblehead on your spaceship dash.
I'm
Maybe one of these
surprised
days
they
I'll
have
carve
those
out some
already.
time to get back into that game. I
Yeah.
got a pretty good sized base on PS4, and I really want to play on PC instead. But I'm so far in on PS4 that I don't know that I want to stop there.
The game's cool. I started playing it a little bit over the holidays, and I've never, since they keep retooling stuff, I never get past the tutorial phase because it's like kind of long. It feels like
And they just keep adding more stuff to the game.
Right.
So you're just like, well, all right, I guess I got to learn about this stuff. Yeah.
like I got to the point where I was building a portal to a space station.
Mhm.
I don't know if that was in there the last
Yeah.
time you played it.
Yeah.
Like I know there's a
Yes.
lot they need to tutorialize, but at some point I just want to fly my ship around. So
Right.
anyway, all
At
right.
some point, I don't want to get murdered by another player, like on my fucking starting planet.
Hey man, it's a dangerous universe.
Jeez.
That's right.
Anything could happen out there.
Yeah, it did.
Even bobbleheads. All right, that's it for the news. We're gonna take another quick break here as soon as I get this scene queued up, and then we'll be right back. We'll see you in a minute. Ben, what's going on? I understand
Oh, she
we
just
have
burped.
a special guest. What's going on here?
Special guest commentator,
Yeah.
Annie Pants.
Pants?
Yeah, it just, I don't know. How did we come up with the pants?
We were trying to think of a good last name that wasn't either of ours,
Yeah.
and we just kept saying words.
Okay. So, yeah. This is, I see that the chat going crazy with Annie emos. Okay, she's getting fussy. I gotta let her go.
All right. Goodbye, dog. Thanks for
Goodbye, dog.
hanging
Goodbye,
out.
dog.
It's been fun.
Hi, dog.
It's been real. Now I have to figure out how to unpin Ben from this thing.
Just click him again, I think.
There it is. Yes. Okay. Got it. All right. Back in this. Time to do some emails. Bombcast@giantbomb.com. Beautiful.
Emails.
Beautiful.
Email.
Perfect.
I'm gonna buy a piano by the time we're out of this.
Yeah.
I got one back there.
Yeah, I've
It's
got this.
just little.
I've got a keyboard sitting here that I need to be playing. These are the most electronic of mails because they both came in electronically, and now I am sending them to you electronically.
Whoa.
It's like double emails.
Weird.
Yeah. All right. First email is from Josh in Colorado. What's everyone's favorite and least favorite Animal Crossing fruit? What fruit would you want? The fruits include red apples, cherries, peaches, pears, oranges, and coconuts.
Okay, I'm on record of saying I hate all red fruit, and I got stuck with cherries.
Your most insane take to date.
So I got stuck with cherries and was very unhappy. But then my partner was gracious enough to give me pears.
Pears are good. Yeah,
pears are the worst. Bottom tier fruit in real life in Animal Crossing. Garbage apples.
Oh man!
I'll throw pears off the overpass at cars. Yeah, that's what pears are for.
This email says, P.S. Does Jeff still have the pear tree he hates?
No.
No?
We took the trees out.
Fuck, man. I'm gonna turn down
pears. Yeah. I got pears on my island.
How you gonna turn down free pears?
I'm sorry, Jason, for you.
Oh, I got peaches, and I always get peaches. I feel like the last 3 Animal Crossing games, I've gotten peaches, and
millions of peaches.
I could eat a peach for hours. Don't get me wrong, but
all right.
It's just I want some variety. So what I think I have like 4 of the 6 fruits now growing in some form. I've got cherries, I've got oranges, I've got coconuts.
How do you grow a fruit tree?
You plant the fruit in the ground.
Yeah. It's that simple?
Yeah, you put the fruit in the ground.
How else would you do it?
I thought you needed like a special seed or something.
You could also buy that.
Yeah, I know someone who can hook you up with some special seed.
Okay.
Kind of seed you're talking about?
I wish I had cherries.
I like buddy.
Cherries.
Yeah, I got cherries. You want some cherries?
Nah, man. They got pits and stuff. I ain't dealing with that.
Can I grow a maraschino cherry tree?
Yeah, I want Granny Smith apples instead of these red, delicious or whatever they are.
All right, there's your fruit breakdown.
I'm also kind of annoyed that you can just straight up eat a coconut in Animal Crossing because you can't actually
stuffs in his dumb mouth.
Maybe you can't.
That's crazy.
That's true. It's true. I just wanted to see him like crack it open and then drink it.
Right.
All right. Next email comes in from. Let me click myself while I read this email. It's from Sambo Mambo in Melbourne. He says, which 4 games should join the Video Game Hall of Fame? The Strong Museum has named the 12 games shortlisted for this year's World Video Game Hall of Fame. Every year, the Strong Museum names a dozen nominees, aiming to highlight games that have significantly impacted the video game industry, popular culture, or society. 4 games will be selected. My question to you all is, which 4 games from the below list would each of you choose to go into the Hall of Fame? The nominees for this year are Bejeweled from 2001, Centipede, 1981, Frogger, 1981, GoldenEye 007, 1997, Guitar Hero, 2005, King's Quest, 1984, Minecraft, 2009, NBA Jam, 1993. Nokia Snake, 1997.
Oh, shit.
Oh, fuck.
Super Smash Brothers Melee, 2001. Uncharted 2, 2009. Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, 1995.
Oh, shit.
1995?
Yeah, apparently.
What
Melee. Done.
Oh, I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Get out of here with that.
People have been playing it for 22 years. I mean, the Snake, you can say the same thing about Snake.
People have been playing Frogger for 39 years.
Yeah. So Centipede with the trackball, was that like one of the first trackball games or the first trackball game?
I don't think it was the first trackball game because there was that old I don't know if it was the first one or not, but Atari Football had it was a cocktail like top down thing. They just had a big trackball. You had to roll to make these X's and O's go back and forth. It's like a black and white game.
Really?
So
Okay.
It's not the first trackball game.
All right.
I don't know that I could support a trackball game on account of occasionally pinching my hand in the side of the trackball.
That's a good point. It's dangerous.
Point.
Bejeweled, Snake, Minecraft, and
Guitar Hero.
Oh, Guitar Hero is like right there.
I don't know.
I think in terms of it all depends on like what you think the Video Game Hall of Fame represents, and like Bejeweled is the match 3 game, right?
Sure.
Like
Column. Well, yeah. Okay, sure. Yes.
Columns.
Columns.
Columns came first. This is a match 3 game. Columns. I don't like columns either, but it came first.
When I was trying to get the 1,000 achievement points for the Sonic Ultimate Genesis.
Columns destroyed the stream.
Yeah, columns destroyed the stream.
Columns dropped a.
It put a wall between us.
I guess
That's copyrighted material. As soon as the Sega robot detected columns being played, it was like absolutely not.
I guess so. I still can't tell. I still can't tell if the music's going out to the stream or not.
Yeah.
Anybody?
Anyone hearing nasty out there?
This is going to play just great.
Filthy.
Please, it's called
Filthy.
Okay, I am told they are in fact getting. Let's see.
Yes, the music is going out.
Okay, good.
Whatever this song is, which is Clotho, is the name of this track. So, yeah, exciting times here on the Giant Bombcast. I apologize for that.
I'm going to say Guitar Hero, Frogger, NBA Jam, and Snake. I think that's Guitar Hero was the one I was probably iffy on because I'd say like, well, what about Guitar Freaks? And then what about Beatmania? And maybe Beatmania or DDR is probably one or both of those is probably already in there. Any self-respecting Hall of Fame would have both of those games in it. So yeah, Guitar Hero. What it did for licensed music makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think you got to go Bejeweled on that list, man. Like that, look at Candy Crush. Look at how it just proves how satisfying a very simple gameplay loop can be. Right.
I agree that Bejeweled belongs in this Hall of Fame, but maybe not this year. If I got to pick from this list and pick from those 12 games, those are the 4 I'm going with. But Bejeweled needs to be in there too.
It's on my short list, but what's the case for NBA Jam?
It was just a huge moneymaker. It repopularized arcade sports. The impact of NBA Jam on pop culture, on like basketball even. There's just a lot of stuff around that. Words that entered the lexicon as a result of that damn game. Such as a boom shakalaka.
Okay, that's a convincing argument.
Yeah,
I'll take that.
How many games of beer pong I played in college where people would yell, "He's heating up, he's on fire"? I can't count.
Yeah.
Who's the NBA Jam announcer?
Tim Kitzrow.
Did he have a voice career? Did he go all?
He was. I think he was a radio guy.
Okay.
I want to say he was a radio guy.
Okay. 'Cause I was gonna say
that.
He almost seems like he could have gone all Michael Buffer with that stuff and copyrighted some phrases or something, but I don't know.
Yeah. It was just Mark Turmell's birthday, if you remember the code to play as Mark Turmell. It was a couple of days ago.
That's important factoid.
Yeah.
From the annals of games. All right.
Mark, that on fire stuff. Mark Turmell worked on a Wizard of Oz match 3 game at Zynga, where I think he's still at Zynga.
Zynga.
And that game has the ability to be on fire in it.
Okay.
He made sure to work that in there.
It's important work. When you've got the power, you got to do the right thing with it.
Exactly.
I honestly thought Zynga had closed down by now.
Are they still down the street? Do we know?
That their logo. I drove down there not too long ago, and they still had a logo on the Townsend building. So,
okay. All right.
So yeah.
All right.
Is the music still playing?
Yeah. Is that a bad thing?
No, I don't know. I don't know. I can't hear it. I just see people. I glance over at chat and see people go like, "This music."
People seem pretty excited about Colin's music when it first came on. So
yeah.
I'm gonna run.
Now go play the Poets 1 from Streets of Rage 3 soundtrack.
Yeah. I'm gonna run with it. All right, next email is from Ben in Cincinnati. If Half-Life Alyx is the VR experience we're all hoping it is, what are the chances Valve will eventually put the game out for PlayStation VR? Sony and Valve have had good relationships in the past, with Gabe even appearing on their E3 stage to announce the Orange Box, which seems like forever ago. So do you think they could make a PS4 version or wait for an upgraded PS5 and an updated PlayStation VR?
I like those odds.
I think there's a possibility.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's out of the realm of possibility, right?
Sure, I can see it.
Maybe not.
That would put it in reach of a lot more players that wouldn't be able to otherwise.
For sure.
Get it.
Yeah. And like
me.
Obviously, they've got R&D invested in PC VR and that sort of thing, but it seems like anything that makes them money, I'm sure they're fine with. But B, anything that just gets people looking at VR and looking at their VR stuff is probably good for them. So
yeah, and PS5, I'm sure we'll be able to run that game just fine.
Yeah.
Even on the old headset. I mean, who knows what the actual upgraded PSVR headset, when they eventually do one, what the changes are.
Yeah, actually,
better tracking, I would hope.
Now that you mention it, it seems like maybe a PS4 version of that game is probably not likely, but a PS5
No,
version,
yeah, no.
totally. Could see. All right. Next email is from Walter in Montreal. A thought popped into my head recently. Do you think we will ever see a Super Mario Bros. 4? Not World, 64, Sunshine, Galaxy, New, Land, 3D, or Odyssey, just plain old Super Mario Bros. 4. Of course, Sonic Team failed miserably at this when they made Sonic 4. Can Nintendo do what Sega didn't? What do you think a Super Mario Bros. 4 would look like? And just to set the record straight, I am aware of the Japanese Super Mario World box art.
Yeah.
Which says Super Mario Bros. 4 on it.
4, yeah.
So, like, kind of technically there is one, but, like, just for...
Yeah,
you know,
well, I think that would just mean that we're talking about Super Mario Brothers 5.
Yeah, just as a thought exercise, let's explore.
Well, that's Yoshi's Island, Jeff. Because that's Mario World 2.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think I mean they're so intent on making the new mainline Mario games so different. And even when they went back to that 2D style, they very intentionally called it like new Super Mario Brothers. I don't think there's a chance.
Actually, you know,
what if they did?
No,
go ahead.
I was going to say, for that matter, do you guys think the new series is done? Is there going to be another new Super Mario Brothers?
I don't know. Huh.
Newest Super Mario Brothers.
They ported, what was
latest?
It? I think it was the Luigi one is the one they ported to Switch. Is that right? Maybe that's it for that.
Yeah.
New is just a state of mind, man.
What if they did a cool fake new style for a Mario Maker game and then labeled that Super Mario Brothers 5?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's like a fake. It's like a dream game that never existed. But what if there was a Super Mario Brothers 5?
I'm interested.
I think that'd be neat.
Down with it. All right. David from Germany. With folding at home being the new hotness as it's helping fight the coronavirus, I have to ask the experts, is folding at home an idle game, and is it a good one? The numbers go up.
The numbers go up.
Yeah.
It's true. PC's got to work hard to make those numbers go up.
It's got clan support. It's
Wait, does it
yeah.
really?
I mean, you join a team.
I have thought about installing that thing since we've been home. I've never actually tried it before, but
I ran it back. I was running it back years ago for a while. Yeah.
A couple other questions around the ongoing state of things. This is from Jonathan. If Evo gets canceled due to coronavirus, actually, now that I read this email, it seems crazy that hasn't happened yet, but he asks, would an online tournament be an acceptable substitute in your opinion? The organization and streaming challenges might make that impossible, but I'd be curious to see if they could pull it off.
God, that would take so long. That would take a ridiculous amount of time to do. Could they do it over like... Evo, it takes like a weekend to do anyway, but over the course of like a week or something like that, that'd be rough. Yeah. I don't know. Like it could never be that big.
I'd like to think that they could. Obviously it wouldn't be the same, right? Like, but I would take a crippled Evo over no Evo at all. I would love to see high level play in a high stakes tournament, and a lot of fun is being there. A lot of fun is seeing the players, sitting across from each other and stuff like that, and not having to deal with lag and issues like that. But like, man, it's the one time, well, there's lots of tournaments, but it's the one time a year that like everyone is there. All the top players are there. Everyone's competing. And if it was online only, that could open it up to a lot of people who wouldn't be able to afford travel otherwise. A lot of hidden killers from all around the world who can't get out there to major tournaments because of airfare costs and hotel costs and all of that.
Sure.
I think it could be an interesting experiment. A lot of scenes are actually, really starting to pump up their online tournament scene now because they have no other choice.
Yeah, there are a couple that are popping up.
Do you guys think you would run into issues where just like you would not be able to guarantee that every player was on a quality connection? Do you think that would just delegitimize the results to some people?
It wouldn't be the same, but like, is it better than nothing? Like, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Maybe.
I don't think it would be an Evo proper. I think it would just be some.
It would have to be something.
Some side thing they would do.
Yeah.
You know,
Evo Summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really weird that they haven't canceled that yet.
Totally. I'm surprised they haven't said anything.
That's got to be one of those contractual, like we have to wait for this city to pull the plug on us.
Yeah.
Things, right?
That doesn't seem like that'll be hard eventually. It's just going to happen as a matter of course. All right, couple more questions in this vein. Jonathan from Toronto. Everyone's inside. Oh, I'm sorry. The subject line: Could the pandemic have saved HQ Trivia? Everyone's inside. What if that house of cards had held out another couple of months?
No.
All right. So much for that. Let's see. All right. I think probably the last question in this category here. Ron from Grand Junction, Colorado. I know there's been a lot of talk about consoles. Let me bring myself up here for a second. I know there's been a lot of talk about consoles being delayed due to manufacturing delays. But what about because of the state of the economy? I work at a hotel, and the majority of staff were laid off, and people like me are still on severely reduced hours. I was originally planning on buying the PlayStation 5 at launch, but now I question if I will be able to do so. Sure. There are definitely many others in my position or worse. I just can't see them selling well at all.
Yeah, it's definitely going to impact that. You know, yeah, you'll definitely have a... We'll see where we are by the time that stuff comes out. But, like, yeah, I mean, you have a lot of people that are not going to be able to afford it. They're not going to have the time for it. They're not going to have just the appetite for it.
So that is absolutely true. I think the question to me is just like, from Microsoft and Sony's perspective, would they rather actually push the launch, or would they just rather accept that sales are going to be slow for the first few months or even a year or more?
I think they would probably rather just get that stuff out there. It's probably not a big deal if it doesn't like fly off shelves at first. Yeah.
I think didn't Microsoft like at some point in the last couple of weeks, I think they did recommit to launching this year. I mean, obviously that could still change.
Right. Yeah. Well, they had their website leak say Thanksgiving and then very quickly changed it to say holiday.
Sure.
So I don't know what the deal is with that, but yeah, they seem like they're still planning to be out this year. But yeah, like what we were talking about last week.
What if hardware manufacturing is just like at a standstill?
Well, that's a different. I mean, that's a logistical problem. That's not a business decision. Like if they just don't have the capacity to get it out there, then they just can't do it. You know.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's all the stories seem to indicate that China's getting there. Yeah. But I don't know.
Yeah. We're in pretty muddy waters right now and all that stuff, so it's really hard to say.
Yeah.
All right, speaking of new consoles, Mike from Cleveland. I've got a beefy PC running a 2080. Is there any reason for me to get an Xbox Series X? Also, just noticing that the phrase Series X looks ugly and strange in print.
I hate it.
To me, a really good PC and an Xbox Series X almost feel like an either-or kind of thing, because a good PC can run all those games anyway, so... I just don't know that you need both.
Yeah, it's like this. We were talking about that stuff earlier around hard drives and like that sort of stuff. So you wonder if like maybe early on will the consoles run those games better than a PC will, maybe just by virtue of just like they've got the parts.
Right. Maybe that's an extra wrinkle to the equation of like if you have a good PC with a very fast SSD, then you're there.
Yeah, I wonder. Like that's something we're gonna have to wait and see on, because it's not just all raw power. It's just not just all GPU.
Right.
So we'll have to wait and see how that impacts things. But I bet going forward, as more of those parts work their way down in price and work their way into more gaming PCs and stuff like that, then yeah, that seems like that'll be the way to go. Considering Microsoft's gonna put all their stuff out there anyway.
Yes.
So yeah.
Theoretically, there will not be any games of theirs you can't run on a PC.
Backwards compatibility stuff.
That's true. Yeah, actually, that's a good point.
If they stick to that, I mean, I think they should bring that stuff to PC, but they have not.
Yeah, and as of right now, the Game Pass offering is better on the Xbox than it is on PC, or there's more there.
Right.
Last I checked. So yeah. Question from James. What scene from a movie messed you up as a kid? The scene where people in hazmat suits find E.T. all white in a stream gave me nightmares for years.
All of the butterfly effect.
Why did you watch Ashton Kutcher's seminal Butterfly Effect as a child?
It was on FX.
Big
I had
punk
no
fan.
other choice.
I was gonna say Old Labyrinth.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
It was just it was that line of being cartoony, and so I'm like, oh, it's a cartoon. I love like not actual cartoon, but puppets, but like kind of unsettling and creepy.
Okay, sure.
My dad took me to see a movie called Parasite, Parasite 3D, and it was a 3D film where people got a parasite in them that when it gestated or whatever, it exploded out of them so hard that it turned their whole bodies inside out.
Oh.
So it was a lot of like particles flying at the screen as people's fucking bodies blew around, and that sucked. That was fucked up. That was a bad call on someone's fucking part. That I was probably like 7 or something, 6. Yeah.
My uncle took me to go see Heavy Metal, the animated film, and I was like kindergarten.
Yeah, I saw that. I think I saw that at a drive-in probably around that same time, and I don't remember much about it other than just finding it creepy, and I still find it creepy. There's something about that style of animation. It's that style of animation and all of the animation on Monty Python. I just don't like looking at it. It just creeps me out, and I just don't like looking at it.
2 leapt immediately to mind for me when I read this email. The first one is the arm wrestling scene in The Fly.
God.
The Cronenberg Fly. I saw that way too young. The second one is, and like as an adult, I have come to realize that like the over-the-top violence is kind of part of the satire of RoboCop, but the Alex Murphy like murder scene in that movie when I was like 6 years old or something was not great. Did not much care for that as a child.
That makes sense.
So I'll say the part in Neverending Story when the horse dies.
Man,
really messed me up.
Oh.
Still think about it.
Now I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is cheery. This is going in a great direction. So a great email for me to pick.
Hey, here's a question from me. Something I was thinking about. I'm certainly not the first person to have this thought, but we were talking about the quarantine stuff in Half-Life Alyx. Do you think anyone's going to want to play The Last of Us Part 2 when that comes out?
That's rough.
Yeah.
Like in the wake of everything, or maybe not even in the wake, but in the middle, like with everything that's going on, it's hard to imagine a world where anyone wants to fucking go through that fucking thing.
That game is actually about the wake of the pandemic.
Yeah,
I could see it being sort of like giving you that feeling of I am combating it, right? Like I am doing something about this problem. It gives you kind of a sense of like ownership of it, maybe in a weird way.
There's something about having control over a fear. Having that control is therapeutic in a way.
I can see it.
Also, there's still like thousands of people still going out into beaches, so there's a bunch of folks that don't even think this is a big deal.
Yeah. Well, give it time. All right. Here we go. Straightforward, short and to the point. From, I'm going to say, the Bombcast emails MVP at this point, Nathan in Tumwater, Washington.
Yes.
Dude. This dude just
puts
like
the new Danny O'Dwyer. It used back in the day. It was Danny O'Dwyer, right?
And
all
like,
the time.
Honestly, like anybody who wants to write in an email, take a lesson from Nathan from Tumwater, Washington. Just like every week, it's like a master class on how to get your email read on this podcast. It's a cheerful greeting.
He just Venmos you $1 with it.
No, I'm not supposed to talk about that part, but just nice short one-line email, cheerful greeting, short question that's a good conversation starter. That's it. Hi, what would be the worst arcade machine to own?
I can always think of the best, but all right, some bad ones.
I'm trying to think like what would be a pain in the ass to maintain or something.
That's not a bad angle.
Any pinball machine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
The more complicated and modern, the worse.
But what if it's Black Knight 2000? You get to hear him like, "Give me your money."
Well, then when it breaks, you're that much sadder.
Yeah. Speaking of breaking, the original Street Fighter machine had one big button.
Oh yeah.
And that was always breaking, I guess. Huh.
I think having a Street Fighter 2 machine and not having anyone in the local area that wants to play that that is ever over here to play Street Fighter 2 was kind of a waste.
Kind of a bummer, yeah.
I'm going to throw out as a possibility a Mortal Kombat machine with a non-functioning monitor.
Sure, that's a rough one.
I mean, it's not entirely unplayable. But
Are you talking about the one in our studio?
Yep.
Maybe.
Yep. Okay.
Wait, do we still have that?
Yeah, it's in the corner.
Does,
Right
the,
in the
does the
corner.
monitor still not work?
Monitor
Nope.
still doesn't work.
Man, we got to get Jerry on the phone.
Yeah. Damn it, Jerry.
Time Crisis with like a sticky pedal.
Okay. All right. I'm stealing this from chat, but I'm going to say Journey. Because I bet dealing with that tape pretty annoying
Oh yeah.
over time.
Well, you can still play it even if the tape doesn't break, or even if the tape doesn't work.
Can you just
but-
can you just throw like any cassette tape you want in there?
I think so. I think the tape that came with Journey was like a looping tape, so it would automatically loop back around.
Okay, that makes sense.
So it wouldn't do that, but I'm pretty sure it was just a regular tape.
Man, that's
I'm going to say that obnoxious, huge Deal or No Deal ticket game that you can see everywhere.
It'd be so good.
It'd be really fun for like a week, and then you'd have. And the Howie
Yeah, then
Mandel
you'd
isn't
have-
even there. They don't even have a Howie in it.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
Oh fuck! I want that crocodile whack-a-mole game now.
Oh yeah,
That shit's tight.
I love that game.
All right, a couple more emails real fast here. Alyx in St. Paul, Minnesota. I'm a special ed teacher who is now forced to record and post videos of himself giving lessons to the students. The problem is, every time I record something, I immediately delete it because I hate the sound of my own voice. How did you guys get over this in posting your quick looks and other videos? I could really use some advice.
I just do it, put it out, just whatever.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah. I would say personally, it's not that I got over it. It's just that necessity forced me to do it anyway. You just kind of have to just grit your teeth and suffer through it because at some point the job's got to get done.
yeah. I was
Make
using
a puppet of yourself.
I was doing a bunch of sound check stuff in our studio not too long ago, like readjusting audio, and I'd put the podcast on, and whenever like I would talk about a game for like at length, I would actually have to go in there and fast forward it.
Yeah, totally. It's
it's just
yes, painful.
yeah.
No good. But these kids need their lessons.
that's right.
You got to do it.
It's important work.
Okay. 3 more. These are short. Jack Thomas. Been watching some Star Trek The Next Generation in these strange times as comfort food, and every time Worf does or says anything, I just sigh. Do people like him? He's a bad Klingon, he's a bad Starfleet officer, no one respects his opinion. I even tried watching the Worf-centric episodes, and he still seems to suck. Does he get better in Deep Space Nine? Am I the only one who thinks Worf sucks? I think this opinion sucks.
Agreed. Worf's great.
I think Worf is all right.
I think it's charming that he kind of sucks. I think the point is like, I mean, he's conflicted, right?
Yeah, I don't know if
Like,
I'd say he sucks, but he operates on one mode, which is
Right.
just brutalize everything as a means to solving problems.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that, like you get a lot of that at first, and you're like, who's this weird? Like he's really standoffish. But then when you get into like his relationship with other Klingons and stuff, I think it really opens him up as a character and starts to show that he is not just like a brutal,
Yeah,
guy.
I appreciate the trapped between two worlds kind of dynamic of him, being raised by humans, like longing for his culture, that kind of stuff. So
Yeah,
I think Worf is fine.
Worf works fine.
Yes,
His
as part,
kid,
as part of an ensemble.
Also, great
Yeah.
voice,
Yes, absolutely.
great presence.
Yes, for sure.
Mhm.
Okay. Also from Jack Thomas. More Star Trek questions. Hi guys, more questions. Don't know why I see you as the authority on this, but
That's us. This is a Star Trek podcast. You're riding to the home of Star Trek.
Engage.
I will confess I have also been watching the odd episode recently as a little comfort food kind of thing. Why does Beverly Crusher wear blue jumpers on her days off? Wouldn't you be sick of blue?
She rocks it.
Think so?
Yeah,
That's
I
her
think.
color.
I think it works out well
she's
for
got
her.
she's got the copper colored hair. It's like the blue.
Mhm.
Those are complementary colors, right? She
Absolutely.
knows what she's doing.
Either that or she's a Crip.
Ooh.
Mm. They have Crips in space.
100%.
Okay.
There has to be some B movie called Crips
Yeah.
in Space, right? At this point, surely. Okay.
Oh, it needs to happen.
All right. Last email. Here we go. I kind of probably could have paired this with the Game Hall of Fame thing, but here we go. From Alvaro in Cincinnati. You've all mentioned a few times how dumb it is to compare completely separate games to one another, so now is the time. Just following your gut, which of these are the better games within these pairs? All right, number 1, Samba de Amigo versus Splinter Cell.
Samba de Amigo.
Samba de Amigo.
Did I hear a Splinter Cell in there?
I said it.
Okay.
Well,
I really like that co-op mode.
Okay. All right. I don't know that I have a preference on that one, so I guess I'm with the group. Perfect Dark versus Day of the Tentacle.
Day of the Tentacle.
Perfect Dark. I never played Day of the Tentacle.
It's better than Perfect Dark. That's all you need to know.
I played part of it when that remaster came out 2-3 years ago. That was my first time with it, and I don't know if it held up incredibly well.
It's got the voice of the main character, Bernard, is voiced by Les Nessman from WKRP.
Yes,
more
that's
than you
fair.
fucking want.
Oh, really?
Fair. Yeah, that is a fair.
Should I
point.
play? Does Day of the Tentacle hold up? You think?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, it was not bad, but like, I could see it maybe being funnier in the '90s when you're a kid.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know.
Perfect time, Ben.
That's right. Yeah, there's no better time to play an incredibly obtuse object like inventory puzzle-based adventure game on a stream in front of people than right now.
Oh God.
It's like Pajama Sam all over again.
Yeah. But I mean, if you want to play it, there is a really nice remaster that came out 2-3 years ago. High res, nice looking graphics and stuff. Unreal Tournament versus Tetris Effect.
Tetris
Effect.
I don't know, man.
As much as UT was like my first big shooter.
Unreal Tournament.
If this was like UT 2003 or something, then I'd take it. But
yeah,
base level UT, I might. UT.
UT's not even my favorite shooter from that era, and I might still have to say UT. I don't know.
You guys forgot what fun is.
Tetris.
I loaded up Tetris Effect the other day.
I
man.
re-downloaded because of you, Ben. It was great. Oh man,
that game seems
It's
pretty
vibe.
chill, but I don't know. Unreal Tournament is pretty good. All right. Super Mario RPG versus SimCity 2000.
SimCity 2000.
Super Mario RPG.
Man, I don't know.
One of the greatest RPGs
Super
ever.
Mario RPG.
2000.
Oh.
I might have,
SimCity 2000 is so good.
if this was SimCity for the SNES, I might say SimCity.
Oh no, but 2000 for the PC was so fucking
But it
good.
doesn't have that little professor dude in it.
It does not. You're right.
It also doesn't have Geno. It doesn't have Mallow. It has no booster. Booster's Tower. You can't make that in SimCity. Remember when Booster tries to marry Peach and you gotta hide from
I'll get the
snippets?
urban renewal kit and I'll make it myself.
Is SimCity 2000 the best SimCity?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fuck yeah.
Okay. I kind of want to play some SNES SimCity now, actually, out of nowhere. Commander Keen, the first one, versus Medal of Honor.
Like Medal of Honor, the
man.
PS1 game?
I guess the first Medal of Honor, sure, he didn't specify.
Give me Keen.
I guess, like, I don't even really care about Commander Keen, but I care maybe less about Medal of Honor as a game.
I mean, that Medal of Honor for PS1, you wouldn't want to go back to that.
No. Very influential, though.
Sure. I guess I'd say Commander Keen, but I don't really want either. I don't know.
Sure.
Okay. All right.
What if, how about this, though? A free-to-play mobile Commander Keen back for a new generation.
Okay.
Hear me out.
When can I look forward to it?
I don't know. Never.
Cut him off. Cut him off.
PlanetSide versus Prince of Persia 1989.
Oh boy.
Ugh. I never played PlanetSide, but I'll pick PlanetSide.
PlanetSide is great, but like original Prince of Persia is like influential and it's a big deal.
I don't think I've ever
Like you wouldn't have flashback.
Sucks.
I don't think I've ever played the first Prince of Persia, actually.
It's like flashback in another world. It's just
yeah.
it's like it's the game that made all the
Every
that
time
stuff
you
happen.
move your character, you think, "Wow, I wish I was playing something else."
Oh yeah, it sucks, but also
That's
hugely
got a-
influential.
The methodical
yeah.
nature of the controls is pretty intentional, I think.
Karateka.
Dude,
Mm-hmm.
the next pair is Tribes 2 versus Karateka.
Karateka.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Karateka, based on Jeff's.
I've never played Karateka, but I didn't hate Tribes 2 at release, but man, was there a backlash to Tribes 2 when at release? Holy shit. People did not like that game. Tribes 1 now.
Hmm. Oh, Star Siege.
Yes. Skiing.
Tribes.
Skiing down hills in Tribes. It was a good time. Oh man, now we're getting into it. Mad Dog McCree versus Red Steel.
Mad Dog.
Mad
Dog.
Deal.
At least Mad Dog McCree has dumb, campy FMV that is fun.
Yeah.
I don't know that Red Steel has anything that is fun.
I remember people thinking Red Steel was okay at launch.
Really?
Like,
Sure.
they probably didn't.
They were starved for
Yeah.
Like
Like
those
as a
types of
Wii
games,
launch game, I'm sure it was
Yes.
like
I thought
kind of a standout. Like,
I thought I remember people getting their hands on it and being like, "Oh, there was like very little to this."
hmm.
And also remember that was the shitty, like kind of approximated Wii motion controls,
Right,
not the
yeah.
like 1-to-1 Wii Motion Plus later on.
Yeah.
Mad Dog McCree.
Yeah.
Super Mario Kart versus Battle Arena Toshinden.
Super Mario Kart.
Wow, really?
Super Mario Kart.
If it's the SNES Mario Kart, I have to go Mario Kart.
I don't want to even play that Mario Kart anymore.
Yeah.
So much so that I would take Toshinden 1.
Is
It's
I
the
go
wrong
Mario
answer,
Kart.
but it's my answer.
Toshinden
It is
actually
wrong.
good though in any absolute sense?
3.
It was
Yeah,
barely
yeah.
good at launch. It was just there wasn't a lot else out there.
All right.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have 10 count.
I know it doesn't even have 10 count.
All right. Last one: Cool Borders versus Descent.
Descent. Come on.
Descent.
What?
Have not played Cool Borders, but Descent's pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
The fuck are we even talking about?
Is Cool Borders?
What the fuck is wrong with people?
Cool Borders one
How
of the good
dare
ones?
you? No, it's
If it
fine.
was
People-
snowboard
some-
kids, now there's an argument. But
Some people like
No,
cool borders.
no.
I don't-
Cool.
You're gonna tell me a simple snowboarding game could ever be as good as Descent? I'm talking about Descent. Put Descent in the goddamn video game Hall of Fame.
It's pretty good.
Descent 3.
Cool
maybe.
Borders ain't going in no Hall of Fame.
All right, he finishes. Also, since we're having stupid ideas, here's mine. How dumb would it be to try to record a podcast while playing several games? I have no idea about the logistics of it, but it would be funny to hear Brad announce emails while hiding in a bathtub in PUBG.
I like that idea. We kind of did that a little. I mean, we kind of are doing that a little bit. Like when we played Warzone, it was me,
Right.
Jeff, and
Yeah.
Vinny, and Jeff was playing. And you focus on the game here and then, but there's parts where you can pop out and talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're building, when you were chunking that Gundam last week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In a casual, informal setting, I'm going to say it's fine. In the context of this podcast, considering I managed to kill the stream trying to play Columns music a few minutes ago, I'm going to say maybe not.
If you were playing Poets 1 from Streets of Rage 3, maybe things would have gone differently.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
If you were playing the Poets 1 from Streets of Rage 3, maybe things would go differently.
Can you
Maybe you will be.
say it one more time,
If
slowly?
you were playing the Poets 1 from
Wait,
Streets
Jeff,
of Rage 3.
what's that from?
Streets of Rage 3 for the Genesis.
Oh, I have
Oh.
Then
bad news.
maybe you'd have something.
Bad news for you. Whoever named these tracks does not share your naming convention.
That's the name of it, goddammit.
But I,
All right, well.
Jan, go ahead and play Poets 1 from Streets of Rage 3.
I'll give you what I got. All right, that's it for emails. I'm going to call it there.
Yep, there it is. Oops.
We got music on top of music now. That means it's probably time to shut this thing down. So thanks to everybody for tuning in. Thanks to everybody who wrote in. Bombcast@giantbomb.com, I think, right?
Yep,
Yes.
that's us.
Trying to do like 5 things
Video
right
game.
now. It's kind of hard. All right, well,
Visit us on the web at nuke.com.
nuke.com. That's right. That's the webpage. If you haven't been there before, you should check it out.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll be doing a lot more of this type of stuff all week. I believe there's an after show coming up soon.
Yep. Yeah, we're going to hang out with the folks that are in chat, take some questions out of chat.
Yeah.
And hang out a little bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, so stay tuned for that.
Are you gonna play?
It'll be right
Are
here.
you gonna play that Streets of Rage song while you do that?
I don't have a. Oh yeah, actually, yeah, I can do
You
that
should do that.
because I'll be streaming then. Yeah.
I'm playing a Streets of Rage 3 song right now, but I can't guarantee it's the one. So
Okay.
just in case, you might want to cover that base.
Jeff,
Okay.
does your board have Sanwa buttons?
I don't know if they're actual SAMWA buttons or not, but they
Well,
are. They feel real good.
Got a good click.
Okay.
Got the action that you want on a soundboard. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Precision.
yeah. If you're listening live, stay tuned for the after show. If you're not,
Otherwise, look it up on the internet.
That's right.
It's the Giant Bombcast Aftermath.
yes, it'll be out there, as will this podcast. Although you know that because you're listening to it right now. So,
Whoa.
yeah. All right. That's it. I'm gonna call it. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week. Bye.